The so-called three-body technique. Konoha Village. Ninja School. The last row of the classroom. Tuo Yu stared at Iruka on the podium, who was lecturing with excitement. It has been more than 10 years since I traveled to the world of Hokage. The system is not online yet. To know. The world of Hokage is full of dangers and conspiracies. Dead people are like old sows wearing bras, one set after another. And the world is full of bullying. Especially in the later stage, Rinnegan, impure world reincarnation, Susanoo. Anyone can come out and hang up. As an ordinary war orphan, Tuo Yu does not have any powerful means of life-saving. No bloodline boundaries, no awesome dads, nothing but good looks. Could it be that I really can only be an ordinary person? Tuo Yu was thinking about how he would burp in the future. And right now. Ding! The Ninja World simulation system is being bound. Binding is successful. Two sudden voices sounded in Tuo Yu's mind. His face suddenly cheered up. System. Try to echo it in your head. Ding! The system is in place. What is the host's order? Hearing this voice, Tuo Yu almost shed tears. 3 years and 3 years, 3 years and 3 years. After 10 years, the system is finally online. System. Quickly tell me what function you have. The full name of this system is the Ninja World Simulation System, which allows the host to simulate life. Before each simulation, host can choose talents to carry, and according to the final simulation score, host can choose to obtain corresponding rewards. The higher the score, the higher the reward. After reading the explanation of the system, Tuo Yu frowned slightly. This system seems a bit arrogant. The Sims. Does this mean that as long as you do it properly, you can live a variety of wonderful lives? After trying to understand the principle, Tuo Yu did not delay for a second, and immediately turned on the system for the first simulation. Ding! The simulation has unfolded. Host, Tuo Yu. Level. LV1. The talent will be randomly selected for the host. When the host level is raised to LV10, the talent can be freely selected. Note. Talents are divided into white, blue, red, purple, gold, black and gold according to rarity and strength. Etc., etc. Why does this talent have so many colors? 7 kinds? How do you remember this? Tuo Yu just felt a little fuzzy in his head. Actually, this is easy to remember. The intensity of the talent color is probably the color of Kamen Rider Kuga. White is the weakest, black is the strongest. This. I have to say that this system is really good. Just to give one example, Tuo Yu remembered. Okay, let's start drawing. The roulette wheel of the system turns. After 3 seconds. The pointer stopped. Ding! The extraction was successful. You have drawn talents. Reckless Man, blue, Charged God of War, red. After seeing these 2 talents, Tuo Yu's face suddenly burst with surprise. What's going on? As soon as it came up, it was 2 strange talents. Hey, system, I can still understand this reckless talent, but this Charged God of War. What does this mean? System. Reckless husband. I have no fear in my heart, and do things without calculation. The blue level is a lower level, and the degree of recklessness is average. Charge of the God of War. He was in the ashes and had some thoughts in his mind. Red is a medium level, which means that your willingness to rush to people is a bit strong. Puff. After seeing the explanation given by the system, Tuo Yu suddenly sprayed. What is this? Reckless Man, Charging God of War. Combined, isn't this a bit of a reckless LSP? System, can you change your talent? Tuo Yu asked with a bit of contempt. What he needs now is a talent that can improve his strength and use it to save his life. What's the use of giving an LSP talent? Ding! Once the talent is extracted, it cannot be replaced. You can only wait until the simulation is completed and re-extract it next time. Note. Sims need a certain cooling time, and the simulation year is 1 hour. Alright, although it hurts a bit, Tuo Yu is worth accepting these 2 talents. But he also wanted to see what kind of life this somewhat reckless LSP would simulate. Start the simulation. Ding! Carrying talent. Successfully carried talents. Reckless Man, blue, Charged God of War, red. Start the simulation. The screen is being generated in real time. Please wait. After a hasty mechanical sound, the system began to simulate. You are sitting in the classroom, listening to Mr. Iruka's lecture, while silently distracted. You are calculating. The ninja world is in danger, and you have no ability. Maybe you will die in a certain incident. The more you think about it, the more afraid you become, but there is no solution, so you get more and more irritable. At this moment, your eyes swept to Hyuga Hinata next to you. Looking at her fair skin and childish face, there is a trace of evil thoughts in your heart. You are imagining in your mind that you are a cannon fodder anyway, you might as well be a full-fledged ghost, such a gentle and lovely girl as Hinata, can you find a chance to rush her? See this simulated picture. Tuo Yu is completely dumbfounded. This Nima. As soon as the game started, did the whole script come out? Seriously, Tuo Yu people are almost stupid. What he is carrying in this simulation is only a red charge god of war talent. If there is a gold, or even black, in the future. That picture. I can't even think about it. Swallowing his saliva, Tuo Yu continued to simulate with nervousness. Although a little guilty inside, but he is still looking forward to. Because he wanted to see how he would develop with Hinata next. The key is whether or not you can succeed. Because of thinking too hard, you had a nosebleed and attracted the attention of the whole class. Naruto, Choji, they all ran over with a smile and asked you the reason for the blood? Ino and little Sakura look contemptuous and say you are thinking something strange. You didn't explain, just silently covered your nose. And at this moment, Hinata weakly handed you the handkerchief and asked you worriedly if you wanted it. You take the handkerchief, and your heart is tumbling immediately. Such a gentle girl, you must not let a big idiot like Naruto be with her, otherwise I will be sorry for her tenderness. After you thank Hinata, take the handkerchief and cover your nose, then wait quietly for school to finish. After school, you ate a bowl of fried rice on the street alone and came home. In the evening, you took Hinata's handkerchief and began to think about the strategy of how to confess to her. After 5 minutes of ideological struggle, your reckless character defeated your reason. It's so messy. Lie directly out, confess first and then talk about it. So you go out immediately, go to the Hyuga family's mansion, and invite Hinata to have supper on the grounds of thanking Hinata for borrowing your handkerchief. You successfully lured Hinata out, but instead of taking her to Konoha Street, you abducted her to a grove 1 kilometer outside the village on the grounds of letting her see a big baby. Just when Hinata asked you why you came here, you made a big hair, turned around, grabbed Hinata's shoulders, and then forced a serious expression. Hinata, please have a baby with me. F*K. Seeing the system simulated here, Tuo Yu almost didn't stand up. Good guy, really forced a confession. The results of it? What was the result? Tuo Yu's heart was beating wildly, and there were even blue veins on his forehead. Hinata, who was sitting next to him, saw that something was wrong with him, and asked worriedly. Mr. Tuo Yu, what's wrong with you? I'm fine. Tuo Yu held back his breath and hurriedly continued to check the simulation screen. Hinata panicked for a while and did not react. But you are like crazy, you keep confessing more than 100 times, you beg her to be your girlfriend and let her give you monkeys. After a few seconds, Hinata senses something is wrong, and she starts to struggle frantically, trying to escape from your arm. But how can you let her escape at this time? Can a duck that reaches its mouth still make her fly? So you do your best to lock her up. In the chaos, the two of you scuffled together. Although you tried your best to trap Hinata, the eldest lady of the Hyuga family cannot be underestimated. Between the two of you fighting, Hinata inadvertently broke out with chakra and unintentionally performed gentle fist. You were hit in the head-on, fell to the ground, and died on the spot. This is the end of your life. Simulation ends. What? This? After seeing the simulation results, Tuo Yu was a little dumbfounded. Did not rush. After struggling for so long, it finally failed. Tuo Yu couldn't help but turn his head and glance at Hinata who was sitting beside him. The body is quite petite, but I didn't expect to be so strong. He used all his strength to restrain her, but she broke free? And a gentle fist, it's gone. Thought here. Tuo Yu had to sigh. This Hokage world is really a TND. You have talent and blood, you were born as a father. An ordinary passerby is pure slag, cannon fodder. At the same age, Tuo Yu, who has 0 blood and 0 strength, can't even hold Hinata's full punch. It's just too miserable. Well, this wave, I admit it. After all, with this talent, it is very difficult to successfully catch up with Hinata. Tuo Yu is still very rational. The talent of the reckless man plus LSP, to put it bluntly, is the character commonly used by the protagonists of otherworld light novels. To put it uglier, it means that there is no IQ, it is all reckless, and then a little luck of the protagonist is added, and finally it succeeds in pretending. But otherworld's light novel male protagonists can pretend to be successful because they bring their own plugins when they go out, and women give it for nothing. It's hard to fail in this situation. Compared with them, Tuo Yu's simulation is simply desperate and risking his life to blog. System. After the simulation is successful, there should be a reward, right? Can I get a reward for my simulation just now? In the process of settlement, please wait. Ding. In this simulation, the score is E. Unable to get rewards. The cooldown period is over, you can start the next simulation at any time. Alright, Tuo Yu actually had no hope at all. After all, in this simulation just now, I didn't survive for a day before I burped. And the biggest battle was just confession to Hinata. What can be rewarded? After stabilizing his mind, Tuo Yu regained his mood. Then, command in the mind. Start the next simulation. The simulation starts, and the talent is being extracted for you. Ding. The extraction was successful. Talents have been drawn. Wise Thinker, purple, charged God of War, purple. After seeing this talent, Tuo Yu was stunned again. Because, there is even a charge of the God of War. And this time the specification is higher, it is still purple. Don't wait for him to ask. The system immediately gave an explanation. Charge God of War. You have a lot of thoughts in your mind. Purple is a high level, which means that you have a very strong will to charge people like a God of War. Wise Thinker. It is your personality to be silent, rational, and good at thinking. Never act recklessly. Always make plans and think twice before doing things. Purple is a high level, indicating that your thinking ability is outstanding. Good guy. Has this wave turned into a stuffy personality? Tuo Yu's palms were sweating and he was a little excited. A wise thinker, but there is a very strong impulse in his mind. This feeling is even more terrifying than the previous reckless SP. If one is not done well, it will become a gentle scum. Start the simulation. Ding. Carrying talent. The talents have been successfully carried. Wise Thinker, purple, charging God of War, purple. Start the simulation. The screen is being generated in real time. Please wait. After a hasty mechanical sound, the system began to simulate. You are sitting in the classroom, listening to Mr. Iruka's lecture, while silently distracted. You are calculating. The ninja world is in danger, and you have no ability. Maybe you will die in a certain incident. The more you think about it, the more afraid you become, but there is no solution, so you get more and more irritable. At this moment, your eyes swept to Hyuga Hinata next to you. Looking at her fair skin and childish face, there is a resolute thought in your heart. You have to confess to Hinata. Even if she doesn't accept that she has to forcibly confess to her. Imagination in your mind. Anyway, you are cannon fodder everywhere. It is better to be a full-fledged ghost. Hinata is such a gentle and lovely girl, she must not be planted in Naruto's hands. This previous simulation is the same as the previous one. But what happened next was different, but after some ideological struggle. Finally, your reason has overcome your evil thoughts. Because you know very well, if you charge Hinata rashly, you may encounter her resistance. With your current strength, you cannot resist Gentle Fist, and your life is in danger. And even if you succeed in the attack, there is a high probability that a girl as small as Hinata will not be able to keep secrets. After being discovered by Hyuga Hiyashi, your life is still at risk. So, after thinking about it for a while, you postponed the impact of the target, but backhandedly started to make a plan, a detailed and thoughtful plan. What am I? Seeing this unfold, Tuo Yu touched his forehead helplessly. Being so wise and rational, he made a detailed life plan for the first time, but it was just to rush people? Wouldn't it be good to use it elsewhere? Next time, don't let me draw the charge God of War again. Shaking his head helplessly, Tuo Yu continued to simulate. That night, you stayed up all night, thinking about your plan to hit Hinata. At the same time, you were also wondering, you are so rational and good at analysis, instead of developing in the direction of the Konoha military division, you are thinking about everything, just to rush people. After all kinds of thinking, you guessed that this may be related to your naturally overly energetic physique. After seeing this simulation, Tuo Yu had nothing to say. How to say? What a rant. On the second day, you held back your exhaustion and continued to go to class. In class, you look at Hinata's profile and continue to think about countermeasures. Because you know all the plots, you know that Hinata's strength is much stronger than her performance, and she can even fight Hyuga Neji halfway. With the background of the Hyuga family behind it, whether it is soft or hard, it is unlikely. After seeing this analysis, Tuo Yu couldn't help dragging his chin, thinking for a few seconds. Originally, for big families, intermarriage and continuation of bloodlines are the inherited customs. Especially the eldest lady of the level of Hinata, she attaches great importance to her bloodline, and she must keep the purest white eyes. The Hyuga family absolutely does not allow the genes of outsiders to contaminate their blood. If Naruto hadn't become 7th Hokage and saved Konoha several times, he would never have married Hinata. So then, even if you pursue Hinata openly and honestly, you can't do it. Tuo Yu was a little curious. Soft and hard are not enough, how can I succeed? Continue the simulation. After all kinds of thinking, you finally came up with a plan, that is, to become a doctor. Because you know that there are 2 time points, as long as you operate it properly, you can be in the same room with Hinata, and the other party has no resistance at all at that time. You can almost get started. After making up your mind, you came to the Hokage office and expressed your attitude to Sarutobi Hiruzen, saying that you did not have the talent to be a ninja, and no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't catch up with Naruto and the others, so you hoped to drop out of the ninja school. But for the will of fire, you still want to contribute to the village, so you want to go to Konoha Hospital and be a male doctor to take care of those who are seriously injured. Your heart moved third Hokage and Iruka and others. During the farewell party that was touched and respected by your classmates, you quit the school. However, while working in the hospital to make money, you practiced medical ninjutsu and worked hard to become a qualified medical ninja. See here. Tuo Yu swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Good guy. This time the operation is even sharper than the last time. To be a doctor? Man, this is getting worse and worse. The pervert in the TV series seems to be the vast majority of doctors. Tuo Yu sighed. He felt that he was going to go further and further on this road of no return. Time passed quickly. During your time as a Konoha male nurse, you learned some basic first aid measures, and also learned 2 or 3 C-level medical ninjutsu. You are not involved in any events that will change the history of the ninja world. Naruto and the others have successfully graduated, the 7th class is established, the Wave Country incident. You did not participate in all the main line deeds. The reason is that the moment of opportunity in his calculations can arrive safely. 3 months later, Konoha held the Chunin exam, and you have your first chance. In the qualifiers for the 3rd test, you knew in advance that Hinata would be seriously injured by Neji, so you excused yourself to watch the game and stayed in the arena. As you expected, Hinata was seriously injured by Neji in the end. You were in the audience immediately rushed into the field and sent Hinata to the hospital for treatment. Because your speed is too fast, other Shaoqiang have not caught up, and when you took Hinata into the ward, you secretly performed a physical examination on her. You have a feast for your eyes, and a blessing for your hands. However, the Hyuga family and other Shaoqiang arrived soon, and professional doctors also came in, so you have no chance to expand further. After this, you begin to study medical ninjutsu more diligently. Compared with other types of ninjutsu, medical ninjutsu does not require very high talents. Except for Tsunade and Chiyo, the level of other medical ninjas in the entire ninja world is almost the same. This shows that as long as you work hard, ordinary people can become an excellent medical ninja. The timeline continues to advance. Tsunade took office, Sasuke defected, Konoha Sannin led his disciples to practice one-tailed Jinchuriki, the 7th class looking for Sasuke, the undead duo, the Uchiha brothers battle. In these mainline events, you did not play a very important role, just as a medical ninja, silently treating the wounded and improving his skills. And your medical ninjutsu has become more and more exquisite, and has grown from a male nurse who does odd jobs to Konoha's leading medical ninjutsu. Then, the most important moment came. Pen invaded Konoha and captured 9 tails. This is the best time, you know, to have the right time and place. So on this day, you got up early, took a shower, checked in at the hospital, left the village on the grounds of picking herbs, and went to a place that Shinra Tianjung could not reach. As expected, Pain invaded Konoha and slaughtered countless Konoha villagers. Just after Pain finished the Shinra Heavenly Expedition, you started to rush back, and calculated the timing to get close to the battlefield when Naruto and Pain played against each other. When Hinata was stabbed, Naruto broke out 9 tails, and Pen fought fiercely outside the village. You appeared at the card point. You dashed to Hinata quickly, examine her wounds, and carry her away from the danger zone. Your actions are all so reasonable, even if little Sakura saw it, there was no doubt at all. You brought Hinata to the woods outside the village. At this time, the entire village of Konoha is basically dead, Naruto and Pain are still fighting, and Hinata is in a coma. This is the moment you have been waiting for. You treated Hinata briefly, and then took care of her day and night. During this period, you also said a lot about Naruto, such as Naruto being a big straight man. Why Naruto has always liked little Sakura. Why he has not noticed about you. Naruto seems to have only Sasuke in his mind. At first Hinata felt that it was indifferent, but later, she gradually began to agree with your words. Naruto doesn't seem to really care about her, he only has Sasuke in his eyes. Naruto didn't come over even during the hospitalization period, but continued to do other tasks. Seeing that her heart is shaking, you start a love offensive. You take care of her more carefully, tell her some happy things every day, just like your own wife, meticulous. 2 months later, your relationship with Hinata has progressed to an extraordinary point, so you seized the opportunity and confessed to her. Although Hinata was a little flustered at first, but later, after thinking deeply, he agreed. You succeeded. You start taking Hinata to go shopping, like a couple, going in and out of various places. But because you are not from the Hyuga clan, you do all this secretly, otherwise you will be found by Hyuga Hiyashi, and you will definitely die. And after half a year of love, you did it. Under your careful calculation, you finally took her to your home and spent the night. See here. At this time, Tuo Yu, who was simulating in the classroom, could not help sweating in his palms and trembling slightly. Actually, successful? He really rushed to Hinata himself. He couldn't help but turn his head and glance at the petite and weak girl next to him. She was white and tender. Really cool. Is it over? Tuo Yu pondered that this has already been successfully hit the base. This simulation should be over, right? However, things were not as simple as he thought. After that night, the two of you continued to fall in love underground. However, when the time came to the 6th week, an anomaly occurred, and Hinata found that her relatives did not come this month. Then, nausea, vomiting. A series of chain reactions appeared on Hinata. There is no way, she had to go to check, but to everyone's shock, she was pregnant. The entire Konoha burst apart, and public opinion is boiling, and soon, the suspect is locked on your head. You were arrested by the senior management of the village and the Hyuga family. After a series of interrogations and paternity verification experiments, you were confirmed to be the father of Hinata's child. Hyuga Hiyashi lost control on the spot, and the gentle fist will kill you completely. This is the end of your life. Simulation ends. Nima? Seeing the simulation results this time, Tuo Yu couldn't hold back and stood up with a bang. Tuo Yu. What are you doing? Iruka on the podium gave a serious scolding. The other students also covered their mouths and laughed. Tuo Yu blushed and sat down a little embarrassed. He re-examined the deduction just now, and had to say, he still couldn't hold back. Obviously have been successful, it turned out to be an accident. The first time I attacked Hinata, I immediately killed people. And it was finally found, Mr. Tuo Yu. Hinata in the seat next to him still looked at Tuo Yu worriedly. From the beginning, you have become so strange, are you not feeling well? Tuo Yu shook his head. Looking at Hinata's childish face, and recalling the things he did to her in the Sims just now, Tuo Yu's face was flushed, and he felt a sense of guilt in his heart. Next time, don't let me draw the charge god of war again. Tuo Yu thought so silently in his heart, and this time. Ding. Simulation is over, in the process of settlement. Please wait, ding. This simulation, the score is A. What? The score is so high. Seeing the words in front of him, Tuo Yu was a little shocked. In this simulation just now, I finally got caught out in the public eye, and I didn't say anything, and I was finally beaten to death by my old husband. That's it. How can I get a grade? The high score is because the host has fulfilled your long-cherished wish. Even if the final outcome is bleak, but you have achieved your goal, you can say that you will die without regrets. After hearing the system's explanation, Tuo Yu was speechless for a moment. Makes sense. As long as the goal is achieved, what if the result is dismal? Originally, if he developed normally in the ninja world according to his original identity, he would be either a passerby or a cannon fodder. And you have to look at all the lovely girls, and eventually marry other people and be their wives and children. Can this kind of thing be tolerated? Cannot. Absolutely not, and I, after a lot of hard work, strategized for 3 years. Although the method is a bit dirty, at least in the end, the long-cherished wish has been fulfilled. Even if he passed away, he would have no regrets. It's much more cost-effective than going to be a cannon fodder in vain. Think of these. The guilty feeling in Tuo Yu's heart just now dissipated a little. Ding. Given that you achieved an A in this simulation evaluation, you can choose one of the following rewards: 1 in 4 years of chakra accumulation. 2. Elite medical ninjutsu. Glancing at the reward, Tuo Yu chose 2 without thinking about it. As an ordinary person without talent, how much chakra can he accumulate in 4 years? It may not be as much as other Naruto's multiple shadow clone techniques. But elite medical ninjutsu is different. In the simulation just now, Tuo Yu could clearly see that in the past 4 years, he has been polishing and improving his medical technology day and night. In that life just now, he was the medical ninja of the Konoha elite, which was entirely based on his own strength. That's why he chose the second reward without hesitation. Rewards are being loaded for you, please wait. For a moment, Tuo Yu just felt a complicated and huge flow of information pouring into his mind. That is the knowledge and experience he has accumulated in the past few years in treatment, first aid, and medical care. Surgery, dispensing, first aid measures, stitches, hemostasis, detoxification. All kinds of complicated and obscure medical knowledge and experience were poured into his body at once. And, due to the huge amount of information loaded in an instant, his mind was a little dizzy. There are also some symptoms of nausea and vomiting. Mr. Tuo, it's okay. Hinata, who was next to him, quickly reached out and supported Tuo. Stay glued. Tuo calmed down. This damn body, not to mention the mediocre talent, even can't bear to receive a little more knowledge. It seems. You must find a way to draw a talent that can improve your strength. The course passed quickly throughout the day. Although Iruka talked a lot today, Tuo didn't even hear a word. Because his whole energy is on the system, he has been waiting for the cooling down of the system to end. Finally, in the last class in the afternoon, when school is about to end. System refresh. The cooldown is over, you can start the next simulation anytime. Not a second wasted. Tuo immediately ordered in his mind. System. Start the next simulation. The simulation starts, and the talent is being extracted for you. Ding. The extraction was successful. Talents have been drawn. Wise thinker, purple. Noble personality, purple. Vision of the harem, red. Great. Finally there is no charge of the god of war. Seeing the talent that appeared this time, Tuo almost jumped up without excitement. Without the charge of the god of war, I can finally be a person. However, when he calmed down and carefully examined this talent, he fell into confusion again. What's the situation? There are actually 3 talents this time, and, what's going on with the last 2? Wise thinkers, this is undoubtedly a big killer. In the last purple, he had already devised a strategy, and in order to achieve his goal, he did not hesitate to design a 4-year plan. Finally successfully achieved the goal. It's just that Tuo is surprised by the 2 talents after that. Perhaps sensing Tuo's doubts, the system immediately described the details of the 3 talents. Wise thinker. It is your personality to be silent, rational, and good at thinking. Never act recklessly. Always make plans and think twice before doing things. Gold is a high level, indicating that your thinking ability is outstanding. Noble personality. Possess a series of positive qualities such as innocence, kindness, and integrity. Purple is a high level, which means that your character is very noble and admirable. Vision of the harem. Just like the dreams of light novel male protagonists in countless otakus, I hope that I can have a few, or even many, wives. If I travel to Otherworld, the first vision is to open a harem, followed by Tatakai. Red is medium to high level, indicating that this desire is somewhat strong. Converted to the specific situation, it is probably that the lovely girls hovering around him want to be in the bag and make them his girlfriend or wife. After reading the explanation of the system, Tuo frowned, and his whole body remained motionless. Because, although this system clearly explained each talent, but after reading it, not only did he not wake up, but instead, he became even more confused. Because, this seems to be a contradiction. The second talent, noble personality, and the third, vision of the harem, this is totally contradictory. While he has a noble personality, he also wants to open a harem? Isn't this a conflict with each other? But Tuo didn't struggle too much either. Complex personalities, if you think about it carefully, are not too uncommon. For example, Konoha betrayal Uchiha Itachi, Tuo thinks his personality is quite complicated. On one side is Brokon, and on the other side is the big dutiful son. On the one hand, he murdered indifferently, and generally cooked egg fried rice with a genial face. Isn't this a tangled body of various contradictions? Can Uchiha Itachi, or the vast majority of people in the ninja world, be judged purely as good people or bad people? With strong anticipation, Tuo took a deep breath. Then, the simulation begins. You are sitting in the classroom, listening to Mr. Iruka's lecture, while silently distracted. Your gaze is on little Sakura, Ino, and Hinata, scanning back and forth. They are all girls you like, and you even fantasize that one day you will be able to marry them all as wives. But as soon as you came up with this idea, a strong sense of disgust immediately developed in your heart. You curse yourself. How can you be so shameless? Little Sakura likes Sasuke, and Hinata likes Naruto. If you do this, aren't you taking away their happiness? Little Sakura and Sasuke, Naruto and Hinata, they both went through so many difficulties and finally came together. It would be shameless to intervene as a third party. Your morality and character have overcome your greed. You slapped your face hard, no longer fantasized about those things, and began to listen to the class seriously. F*K. Seeing the simulation in paragraph 1, Tuo began to feel a little overwhelmed. This is really a tangled aggregate. On the one hand, he wants to open the harem, and on the other hand, his noble personality is resisting. It feels like a good student with a good tutor since childhood, forced to do some unwilling things in order to fit into the group. Such as smoking. It looks disturbing. On the second day, you were late. In class, teacher Iruka asks you the reason. You blush and touch the back of your head and tell the reason. It turns out that you helped an old grandmother to cross the street on the street, so you were late for class. Naruto and Choji and others laugh and say that you must be lying, but the girls have a warm face because they know who you are and they choose to trust you. On the third day, on the fourth day, you will do some small things within your ability every day. For example, helping grandma to cross the road and feeding stray cats. On the fifth day, today is little Sakura's duty, responsible for cleaning. After school, all the classmates have gone home, only you and little Sakura are still in the classroom. You help little Sakura clean up out of courtesy. However, little Sakura came over carelessly and asked you why. You smiled slightly and said, "There is no special reason, it is only natural for boys to help girls, right?" You thought you would be thanked by little Sakura, but to your surprise, little Sakura did thank you, but shamelessly handed the other broom to you, and then put his hands together, begging earnestly you help. She said she wanted to go to the ninja shop, because it was Sasuke's birthday soon, and she wanted to give Sasuke a kunai as a birthday present. At this moment, a bitter feeling flows into your heart, you hold on, show a kind smile, then take the broom and let little Sakura go. Little Sakura ran out happily, and you were alone, lonely in the same place. See here. Tuo Yu just felt hot in his heart. Special. What a plain. How can there be such a bitter drama? After working for a long time, the harem has not been opened, so do you still help others to make wedding dresses? Tuo Yu couldn't help but look up at little Sakura in the distance, wanting to punch her. You were quietly cleaning the classroom by yourself, and you feel very uncomfortable. However, when you think of little Sakura's smiling face full of anticipation, you are relieved a lot. Because you think that as long as others can be happy, even if you make a little sacrifice, it doesn't really matter. What a? Is it because the personality talent is too strong, so it crushes your vision of opening a harem? Otherwise, it wouldn't be so wasteful. Tuo Yu went back and looked at the talents he carried. The noble personality is purple, the vision of the harem is red. Purple is one level higher than red, in other words, it's a bigger part of the Sims. It seems that the self-simulated this time has more kindness. The days that followed were uneventful. Graduation exam, because of your poor talent, you failed the exam 3 times. Under the guidance of Iruka, you gave up being a ninja and chose an ordinary career instead. Naruto, Choji, Shikamaru and others all come to comfort you, but you still have a warm smile on your face. Hinata gives you a handkerchief, which you gladly accept. On the day Naruto and the others passed the Kakashi test, you became a ramen master by apprenticing to the hand-beating owner of the Ichiraku ramen shop. In the first week of the ramen shop, you study hard every day. Kneading noodles, cooking soup, copying vegetables. I don't go home until 12 o'clock in the middle of the night every day. When Naruto and little Sakura visited, you would greet them warmly, and occasionally let them taste your craftsmanship, but most of the time, Sasuke would snort coldly and say that your craftsmanship is not up to standard. You get used to this kind of life gradually, and you put more and more thoughts into ramen noodles. It's just that when little Sakura, Ino, Hinata and the others visit, your heart will be touched a little, and you will imagine that if you have a strong talent like Naruto or Sasuke, you can push them all the way, maybe you can turn them into your harem. But every time this idea crosses your mind, you immediately reject it. Occasionally, when you think too much and lose your mind, the back of your head will be severely hammered by a calamus, telling you not to be lazy. 3 months later, because of your hard work day and night, you successfully graduated and was recognized by the hand-beating boss and became the second in command of the ramen shop. You happily invited Naruto and the others to taste your craftsmanship, and after eating your face, everyone gave a thumbs up. Even Urzuzi, who has always pretended to be ruthless, reluctantly said, so. Chunin exam. You entertained Gaara, Tamari, you also entertained Orochimaru and Yakushi Kabuto. Although you saw through their disguise at a glance, you did not reveal their identities. Because of your kind nature, you feel that the two of them are just poor people who were driven out of the village and wandered outside. The Konoha collapse battle. Uchiha Itachi returns to the village, you all escaped the disaster. When Sasuke defected to Konoha, you were so kind, predicted the time in advance, guarded the village gate early, and handed him a bowl of steaming ramen. You tell Sasuke, take care of yourself outside, if you are hungry, you can come to you anytime, the door of Ichiraku ramen is always open for Sasuke. Sasuke showed his true feelings towards you for the first time, his eyes were red, he finished the ramen in silence, and even drank the last sip of soup. F*K. This unfolds, why does it feel more and more strange? Tuo Yu's heart was touched a little. Although this time I simulated, I still didn't have the ability to open and push horizontally, and I didn't get any heaven-defying ability. But this unfolding, inexplicably feels a little warm. Not only did he entertain Orochimaru and the others, but he also cooked a bowl of ramen noodles for Urzuzi. He also said something so terrifying. If the character is not noble to a certain level, it is absolutely impossible to do it. The next year, 2 years. You will be the second owner of a ramen shop seriously. Every time you are happiest, it is when Hinata, Ino and the others come to the store. Watching them grow from ignorant little girls to young girls, you feel a lot of emotion in your heart, and you still have sex again from time to time. They have become the scene of your harem, but the number of sex is less and less. Spring and autumn come, and in the blink of an eye, it is already the day of Pain's invasion. Because you knew in advance that Pain would eventually be killed by Naruto and finally performed the Rinne Tensai technique, you didn't do anything. You and the boss family were killed by Six Paths Pain, but revived shortly after. After this, Naruto and Hinata often come to eat ramen together. As soon as you see the interaction between Hinata and Naruto, you know it's impossible. So you only have silent blessings. In those nights, you would often sing a song by Brother Pheasant, The One I Love. That night, after closing time, you were blowing the air on the balcony, and Ayame put a cup of tea in front of you. She asked you who the lyrics were with a bad face. You smiled slightly, and stared at Hinata and little Sakura on the street, but he said half-jokingly, "It's you, Sister Chorus." The Calamus blushed and gave you a punch. Later, the Calamus and the Handbeat will also be able to sing this song. After 2 months, the little Sakura will also sing it, and the little Sakura said that this song is just for her maid to measure. Puff. See how the plot develops here. Tuo Yu couldn't hold it back, he squirted out.
Good guy. Is this all a pop song? Also, how distressed you are.
It's about to become a sad master. However, after thinking for a few seconds, he probably understood. It is estimated that the talent of that harem vision is at work. As long as there is that talent, he has always had the vision of opening a harem. But Neihi's strength is too poor, and there is still a noble personality resisting. I want it, I can't get it, I can't get it. It's so frustrating and frustrating. 1 year later, the Fourth World War began, and you were selected to go to the Ninja Allied Forces as logistics. Because you are familiar with the plot, you avoided several death crises, and even discovered a few disguised white Zetsu, saving a lot of logisticians. After Infinite Tsukuyomi starts, you enter your own dream. In the dream, you built an illusory world. The world is peaceful and stable, only you are a man, not only Hokage's sister, Rem, Nakiri Arena, Shinomiya Kagaya, Poison Island Yuko, Ling Bo Lee, Asuka, Masaka Makoto. All the cute and stylish girls you know have become your wives, and because you are the only man in this world, you have no guilt, and you even hope that Infinite Tsukuyomi will not end. Forever immerse yourself in a fantasy world. After the 4 wars, the ninja world returned to peace. You are still working in the ramen shop, because you know that all the plots are almost over, and there will be no major crisis in 10 years, so you work harder, in order to save more money. Don't let yourself be like little Sakura in the future, he pays the mortgage every month. Sasuke came to thank you. Remembering the ramen you gave him at the gate of Konoha village that day, he showed a harmonious smile, a squinting smile, not like Urzuzi at all. Afterwards, you passed 2 years without incident. However, during the spring festival this year, after the ramen shop closed, the hand-beating boss suddenly called you home. He looked at you solemnly and told you that he wanted to betroth his daughter Calamus to you. A chorus knelt down beside the hand, blushing and bowing her head shyly. And at that moment, you suddenly realized that the person who has been by your side for so many years, silently supporting your life and work, is not little Sakura, not Hinata, but Calamus. Recalling the past 10 years, every day with Iris, you can't help weeping, and at the same time of gratitude, you agreed to this marriage. Your wedding with Calamus was very warm. Kakashi, Tsunade, Naruto, Sasuke, Hinata, little Sakura, Orochimaru. Almost everyone in Konoha came to congratulate. After all, they have all eaten the ramen you made, especially Sasuke, gave him 2 months' salary. On the night of your wedding, you quickly surrendered because of your inexperience. You thought Calamus would be angry, but she hugged you and cried all night. You learned later that it was Chongpu who always felt that she was a few years older than you, and she always felt inferior. After learning this, you love Calamus even more. 1 or 2 years after marriage, you didn't think about opening a harem anymore. It seems that after so many years of tempering, your character has become more noble, and the vision of opening a harem has dissipated from your mind. 3 years later, you and Ayame had their first child, a boy, and you named him Kudo Shinichi. 4 years later, you and Ayame had a second child, a girl, you named him Haibara Ai. 8 years later, the Otsutsuki star invaded. Although you had a difficult time in the middle, with the efforts of the new generation of Shaoqiang such as Boren, the crisis was finally lifted. 20 years later, your father-in-law was beaten to death by hand. You cried for a long time in front of his tombstone, and you felt that it was not a father-in-law who died, but a father. 25 years later, you attended Kakashi's funeral. He was single until his death, and Might Guy also cried for a long time in front of Kakashi's tombstone. 30 years later, Iris left you first. You held her hand on the hospital bed. She smiled and told you, "I am very happy in my life." 45 years later, the protagonist of the ninja world, Uzumaki Naruto, the protagonist of the sky, left, and the funeral was held very grandly. Almost all the people of the ninja world, even the toads of the summoning world, who could come came. You look at the gray-haired Hinata at the funeral, and the Tsunade, the same as it was decades ago, and you feel like a lifetime away. The next year, Hinata also died, and everyone buried her and Naruto together. Boren's son, Naruto's grandson, cried and shouted, "I must learn to impure world reincarnation, and put both grandfather and grandmother together." Resurrection. In the next few years, Shaoqiangs died one after another in the village. Every time you stood in front of their tombstones, you were filled with emotion, and you even wondered if you wanted to learn impure world reincarnation. 60 years later, your life has come to an end. You are lying on the hospital bed, surrounded by children, daughters and grandchildren, and recalling the ordinary days you have lived in this life, you smile. At the last moment of your life, a picture flashed in your mind. This picture is not the picture of your own harem, but the face of the woman you have loved all your life, the Calamus. You left this world with a smile, without a trace of regret. Your life ends here. Simulation ends. The system screen gradually dimmed. As for Tuo Yu, his face was blank, and his heart couldn't calm down for a long time. This second half of the simulation, Tuo Yu did not interrupt the whole process. But very serious, word-for-word feeling. After all the simulations, he only felt sore in his nostrils. Seeing his wife Iris, Kakashi, Naruto, Hinata, when they left one by one, the corners of their eyes were even a little wet. "Own, did you end your life? There is no ups and downs in life, no bloody battles. It's just ordinary getting married and having children, ordinary work raising a family and raising children, and then living out this life. And there are also plots that have not even appeared in the original book. Kakashi is dead, Naruto is dead, Naruto has grandson. This ordinary but restless life is really touching. Mr. Tuo Yu, what's wrong with you?" He heard Hinata's voice again. In this short day, Hinata experienced Tuo Yu nosebleed, suddenly stood up, blue veins burst, red eye circles, and even tears in the corners of his eyes. "She is all stupid. I really don't understand what happened to Tuo Yu. Is it an illusion? No, it's just a little moved." Tuo Yu's heart was full of mixed feelings, and he sighed silently. Hinata doesn't understand even more. Feeling moved? Why are you moved? Aren't you still in class? Could it be that Tuo Yu's eyes turn red just by hearing Mr. Iruka talk about how to use the transformation technique? What kind of structure is his brain? Hinata had a worried look on her face, and she secretly made up her mind to ask when school was over. Otherwise, when she thinks of Tuo Yu's red eyes, she herself feels uncomfortable. On this side of the system, ding, simulation is over. In the process of settlement, please wait. Ding. This simulation, the score is S. What? The score is so high? Seeing the words in front of him, Tuo Yu was a little shocked. In this simulation just now, I lived a normal life without participating in any battles, not even killing a single person. Actually, you can still get an S grade. In this simulation, host successfully played the role of an ordinary person. I'm a little nervous in my heart, but there's still a lot of positive energy. Although you didn't break through the stormy waves in the ninja world, you have lived your life perfectly as an ordinary person. You have a lover, marry a wife and have children, and even children have offspring. You have made countless friends. They respect you and like you. The girls you secretly loved when you were young also have good homes. You left peacefully surrounded by descendants, and you left no regrets. This is a perfect simulation. After hearing the system's explanation, Tuo Yu was filled with emotion. Yes. Who said big winds and waves are life? Plain and simple is true. Tuo Yu readily accepted this evaluation. Ding. Given that you have achieved S in this simulation evaluation, you can choose 2 from the following rewards. 1. The cumulative amount of chakra in your life. 2. Your life's learning and knowledge. 3. The ramen skills you have learned in your life. 4. The memory of your life. Note. It can be shared with one person. This. Seeing the rewards given by the system this time, Tuo Yu didn't hesitate for a second and made a choice immediately. It's not a choice at all. 3 and 4. Because number 1 and number 2 are of no use to him at all. A person with 0 fighting talent, how much chakra can accumulate in his life may not be enough to open Sasago Gundam once in Urzuzi. He is not the main force in this life, but the main logistics. And knowledge. This is even more useless. He already understands the knowledge in Hokage, it is superfluous. So choose 3 and 4 properly, for a moment. A huge amount of knowledge, as well as more than 80 years of memory, flooded into my mind instantly. For more than 70 years, day by day ramen craftsmanship. Cooking vegetables, cooking soup, kneading noodles. All kinds of peculiar formulas, superb craftsmanship, and instant success. This moment. Tuo Yu seems to be a 70-year-old ramen master. His craftsmanship even surpassed that of Konoha's first person. However, vomit, because his body couldn't bear the amount of information and knowledge, Tuo Yu was dizzy for a moment, and he couldn't help retching. Taku, Tuo Yu-kun. Hinata next to him was horrified. Come and hold him quickly. You. What's wrong with you? No, it's fine. Just a little dizzy. Tuo Yu raised his head, his eyes were bloodshot. See his face. Hinata's face is pale and everyone is stupid. What the hell happened to Tuo Yu? Is it poisoning? Still in illusion? Shouldn't his life be in danger? Because the simulation time this time is too long, up to 85 years. So for the next 3 days or so, Tuo Yu will not be able to perform the next simulation. Looks like I'll just have to endure it. I hope that when I simulate next time, I can get a talent to enhance my physique. At least don't spit it out, after school. The students of the ninja school all went back to their homes. Naruto grinned and gathered around. Tuo Yu, ramen thief.
Go for ramen. Tuo Yu smiled lightly. Without Naruto's invitation, he actually wanted to go.
After all, in his previous life, he was the son-in-law who beat the boss. Ichiraku Ramen Shop has been in business for decades under his hands. Soon. Under the leadership of Naruto, a group of Shaoqiang came to the ramen shop. Boss. I want a big bowl of ramen. Boss. I want beef bone ramen. Cook the noodles a little harder. Boss. Put more fish balls. With the patronage of a group of little devils, the store was suddenly very lively. But this time, Tuo Yu's face was a little emotional. You must know that in the life I just simulated, I chose to become a ramen master. After working for a few years at this Ichiraku ramen shop, I ended up marrying a calamus. Now looking back and sitting here to eat and consume, he only feels illusory and dreamlike. Face is good. Calamus took the plate and placed the noodle bowls in front of Tuo Yu and the others one by one. I'm gonna start now. Naruto and Choji immediately gasped. Oops. Idiot Naruto, your soup splashed on my face. Little Sakura complained loudly. Sasuke's face was cold, and he sucked noodles silently beside him. What's the matter, Tuo Yu-kun? Have you no appetite? In the seat, Hinata looked at Tuo Yu worriedly. Because at this moment, Tuo Yu frowned, his eyes fixed on the noodle bowl in front of him, but he didn't move his chopsticks for a long time. Combined with his series of unusual actions today, Hinata suspects that Tuo Yu really has no appetite. No, it's just this bowl of noodles, it's almost meaningless. I mean, the completion of this bowl of noodles is only about 60%, and it can be even better. Upon hearing this, not only Hinata, Sasuke them. Even the hand and calamus on one side focused their attention. Hey, stinky boy, what are you talking about? My dad's ramen noodles taste perfect, where is 60%? Tuo Yu's ex-wife, Calamus, came over with a face full of shame. Looking up at the woman who was a few years older than him, Tuo Yu was confused for a moment. But he recovered immediately and said seriously, this bowl of noodles can be even better, you believe me? Oh? Could it be that you can also make ramen? Chongpu raised his arms with great interest, and the other Shaoqiang stopped their chopsticks one after another. Oh, don't listen to his bragging, Tuo Yu's food is terrible, it's almost like pig food, Naruto laughed. Pig food is not enough, but it's just enough to eat. Little Sakura added with chopsticks and dragging his chin. Hey, Tuo Yu, what are you doing? Who doesn't know Uncle's hand-beating skills? That's our Konoha Kazuki. There can't be a better ramen than him, Choji said without doubt. Shaoqiang's reactions were the same. After all, Konoha's Ichiraku Ramen is a famous brand in the whole ninja world. Open for decades, business has been booming. Needless to say the taste is natural. But this time, in the eyes of Tuo Yu, the current Ichiraku Ramen, the taste is indeed flawed. As for why? That is naturally the result of his last simulation. He has been a ramen master for decades, and has honed his craftsmanship. And in order to keep improving and make better flavors, he kept researching and experimenting, combining hundreds of flavors. He worked hard with hand beater and calamus, and finally raised the taste to ultimate. With all the skills and experience of the previous life, he is naturally not satisfied with the current ramen. Let me try it. I'll make a bowl of 100% complete ramen. Without further ado, Tuo Yu walked into the kitchen immediately. Hey, isn't it? Really do it. Tuo Yu. You bastard, are you trying to poison us? Isn't it Tuo Yu? What are you doing crazy? Can the noodles you make taste as good as the boss? Tuo Yu's actions stunned everyone else. They are all thinking, is there something wrong with Tuo Yu today, thinking that his craftsmanship can be better than the boss? A group of people all stopped their chopsticks and gathered around. In front of the noodle pot, the hand beater also smiled cheerfully. Ha 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 ha, I have been running a ramen shop for decades, and I have never met a kid who dared to challenge my taste. Then you can try it. If it tastes better than mine, I will entertain you for free in the future. Tuo Yu replied silently. Then, put on an apron, put on a kitchen hat, roll up your sleeves, and wash your hands. Tuo Yu has been doing the preparatory work for this set of ramen for decades. Carved into the bones of the skilled. Even though it has not been officially started yet, the hand fight and the calamus are already dumbfounded. This kid. Why are you so skilled? Mix water, beat eggs, knead dough, knead dough. Tuo Yu moves like a top dancer. Flowing clouds and water, it is pleasing to the eye. Even Naruto and Choji, who were questioning him just now, shut their mouths. Swoosh, Tuo Yu raised his knife and shredded a few slices of cheese. Hey, what are you adding? Calamus was in a hurry and was about to step forward, but the hand beat stopped her. Let him do it. This kid makes me feel very unusual. Obviously he's just a kid, but his movements and procedures, he's like an experienced master. Hearing the praise from the hands, a group of people were all dumbfounded. What's the situation? Isn't Tuo Yu a brat as big as them? How could his ramen skills get such a high rating from Uncle Hand fighting? His eyes narrowed slightly. In fact, there are some truths that he dare not say. That is, this Tuo Yu is doing ramen just like himself. Yes. He saw his own shadow in Tuo Yu. It feels like Tuo Yu is his son, and he taught him kung fu for decades. Chop vegetables, stir-fry, cook noodles. Tuo Yu's superb craftsmanship is vividly reflected in this pot. 20 minutes later, it is done. Tuo Yu took out a bowl of noodles and put it in front of the boss. Smelling this aroma, and looking at the circles of crystal-clear noodles, I was very nervous. Pick up the chopsticks, pick up a strand, and put it in your mouth. In an instant, the hand-beating eyes opened, and the pupils were full of surprise. I'm going. It's the first time I see a hand-beating boss and open his eyes, little Sakura. That's right. It's the first time I've seen it, Ino. What? Isn't it a blind man to beat the boss? Naruto. There was a lot of discussion. Sweat dripped from his hands when he hit his face. Little devil. This noodle. Where did you learn this hand-pulling noodle skill? Tuo Yu replied calmly, without him, I only know you well. Hand beat the whole person completely shocked. His eyes widened, his hands trembling uncontrollably. This side is so delicious, it's beyond my skill. What? Hearing the evaluation of Shota, all the Shaoqiang in the room were dumbfounded. Isn't it? Hit the boss, are you kidding? Tuo Yu's casual noodles are better than yours? No one dared to believe it. Naruto rushed over first, picked up a mouthful of noodles and ate it. Then. I was stunned. This noodle. The taste is really a little bit different. Others couldn't bear it any longer and went up to try. I'm going. What does this taste like? It really needs to be delicious. The noodle Q is chewy, and it's all the way to the teeth. And this soup, although it's clearer, what's with the strong fragrance? Tuo Yu. You've got the medicine. Everyone was stunned after eating Tuo Yu's noodles. Obviously, the taste doesn't lie. The ramen made by Tuo Yu is indeed better than handmade ramen. Ayame looked very nervous. Because, if Tuo Yu's ramen is even better than her father's, and spreads to the village, will their family's business be affected? And, if Tuo Yu didn't want to be a ninja and ran out to open a shop, wouldn't that be a blow to their Ichiraku ramen? Calamus panicked and looked at Tuo Yu worriedly. At this time, Tuo Yu also looked at her strangely. My ex-wife. Her craft, her personality, her body. There are several moles on her butt, which Tuo Yu remembers vividly. After all, that's what I've experienced myself. System. I remember the memory reward I got before, can it be shared with one person? Tuo Yu asked in his head. Yes. Will there be insanity after sharing memories? No. After the memory is shared with others, it will be imprinted in their subconscious, and it will evolve into their memories and illusions. Most people will only think that this is their own fantasy. Tuo Yu nodded. Since there is no risk, just share. He also wanted to try it out. What kind of reaction would Zhongpu have if he knew that he had married him and had 2 children with him? Then you share the previous memory with the calamus. After the order is given, the system responds immediately. Ding. Sharing memories. Share successfully. For a moment, silently staring at Tuo Yu's calamus, a flood of information and memories suddenly flooded into his mind. Tuo Yu works part-time at his house, and he spends a little bit of time with him and has a sweet everyday life. After the end of the Ninja World War, marry him as his wife. Share the bed with him and fight everywhere. Give him a baby. Calamus was in a trance, looked at Tuo Yu in front of him, and then unconsciously exclaimed. Husband? This moment, the whole Ichiraku ramen shop is quiet. Everyone. They all looked at the calamus in shock. After the atmosphere solidified for a few seconds, the whole team exploded. F*K. What's the situation? Calamus actually called her husband Tuo Yu. My mother. This is the wrong medicine. Sister Zhongpu, Tuo Yu is just delicious, you don't need to call your husband directly. Good guy, it's too direct. If you like Tuo Yu, don't show it so straightforwardly. Everyone is shocked. Little Sakura, Ino, Hinata. Even Hand Beat. All of them looked at the calamus in disbelief. As for the calamus himself, his face was flushed at this time, and the whole person was completely stunned. At that moment, in the memory floating in her mind, Tuo Yu is her husband, the husband who has been loving for decades. It's so real, it's almost like it actually happened. Yes, sorry. I just lost my temper. Iris hurriedly bowed and apologized. Good guy. Call a child husband. If this is spread out, how can you get it? On the Tuo Yu side, he was secretly happy. This ability is not bad. If you marry and have children with other girls in the future, if you have good memories, you can also share them with them. They can also share it with their original husbands. Then. Beat the boss, I'll come to eat noodles for free in the future? Tuo Yu smiled evilly. It would be nice to have lunch for free. Yes, but I have an unkind request. With a smile, he brought a pen and a notebook over. Hey, Master Tuo Yu, that formula. Can you give it to me? Of course, I don't take it for free, you can ask for a price. Then 50,000 taels. Tuo Yu is also not shy. Originally, part of this recipe was developed by the handmade boss for him. All he needs is pocket money. 20,000 taels. Calamus counter offers. 30,000 taels. Tuo Yu counter offers. 25,000 taels. 29,000 taels. 23,000 taels. 28,000 taels. 26,000 taels. Every time you come, I will cook it for you myself.
Okay. Let's make a deal. With the more than 20,000 taels of money that came back from the ramen shop for free, Tuo Yu was overjoyed.
To know. If you complete a C-level task, you can get a few thousand taels as a reward. More than 20,000 yuan, which is the living expenses of an ordinary kid for a year. Damn. Tuo Yu is such a good guy, he actually took so much money. Naruto, who followed behind, had his eyes green with envy. That's right. And you can buy noodles from the boss for free. I'm so envious. Little Sakura also bit her skirt and said with a look of jealousy. These days. Tuo Yu, as usual, went to class obediently and went home obediently. After all, the last simulation time was too long, and it took more than 8 hours for the system to cool down. Finally. On day 4, the system cooled down successfully. Today is a holiday. Instead of going out, Tuo Yu went out to eat breakfast early in the morning, then sat on the bed, preparing for a new round of life simulation. System. Start the simulation. Ding. Talent is being drawn for you. The roulette wheel of the system turns, after 3 seconds. The pointer stops. Ding. The extraction was successful. You have drawn talents. The King of Fighters, red, hot-blooded boy, black. After seeing these 2 talents, Tuo Yu's pupils suddenly froze. Then. Everyone is excited. It's coming. It's finally here. A long-awaited combat skill. If Tuo Yu guessed correctly, the 2 talents he drew in this wave are related to combat power. The King of Fighters, the hot-blooded boy. Isn't that obvious? On the system side, a quick introduction is also given. The King of Fighters. The fist is your strongest and best weapon, you will be famous for the power of the fist, and your title will also be related to the fist. Red is the middle level, which is probably a genius out of 100 people. Cream of the crop? That's not bad. Tuo Yu nodded beautifully. For him now, let alone 1 in 100, he is satisfied with 1 out of 10. After all, he's a scumbag now, no fighting talent at all. When passing the entrance exam, ninjutsu, taijutsu, hidden weapons, and illusions all failed.
The only advantage is that the composition is well written.
With an article, "My dear third Hokage-sama, I was hired exceptionally." Even if he can write such an article against his will, Tuo Yu naturally refuses to come to the real power. No way, this is the bottom ninja, hungry for power. Hot-blooded boy. Your blood fills your whole body, you are like a fiery burning flame, a vigorous rising sun, courage and perseverance are your weapons, victory is your pursuit, and you will never stop. Fight for partnership and friendship, and fight for justice. Black is super high grade, which means very bloody. Just by your existence, you can already make people feel the fiery flames on your body. Good guy. Does the protagonist of Jump Boy comics have a standard personality? I have to say, just seeing the profile of this hot blood boy, Tuo Yu is already boiling. Hard fist, boiling blood. Could it be that this time, he is going to imitate a ninja Yabuki? Drank water. Tuo Yu stabilized his mind. Then, his expression suddenly became serious. Command in your head. System. Start the simulation. Start the simulation. Talents have been carried. The king of fighters, red, hot-blooded boy, black. The screen is being generated in real time. Please wait. After a hasty mechanical sound, the system began to simulate. And Tuo Yu, like a personal experience, started a new life. In the early morning, after the first ray of sunshine, you bounced off the bed like a grasshopper. Hey hey hey. You have words in your mouth, and you wave your fists into the air. Your fists are your life. You can't stop shaking your fists for a moment. After you wash up, trot all the way and rush into the street. During the period, he kept waving his fists, running from the head of the village to the end of the village, and then from the end of the village to the head of the village. You meet Might Guy and Rock Lee who are also exercising. You are like sympathetic comrades in arms, questioning each other and greeting each other. After 2 hours of jogging plus punching, you slow down a little and walk into the breakfast shop. In the eyes of everyone in amazement, you ate 9 eggs, 2 cages of steamed buns, 3 cups of soy milk, 5 fried dough sticks. The little girl at the next table asks her mother in surprise, "Why does that big brother eat so much?" You smiled brightly, showing your white teeth, giving him a thumbs up and telling him, "This is all for the protection of the village." Puff. At this point in the simulation, Tuo Yu couldn't hold back, so he spit out a mouthful of water on the spot. Good guy. This is completely the mode of hot-blooded teenagers. Just like those ancient Jump Boy comics before, his body is full of sunshine and self-confidence. It feels very reliable. Looking at your handsome appearance, the little girl's face blushed slightly. You may not know that at this moment, you have become her first love. You keep running, on the road, on the grass, by the river. Kakashi sitting on a tree reading a small yellow book, Nara and his son sitting in the courtyard playing chess, Sarutobi Hiruzen sitting in the office peeking at the bathhouse, Uchiha Obito standing on the hillside overlooking the village. Your figure is all hard to hold in their eyes. Every inch of Konoha village is covered with your sweat. Shit. Tuo Yu took a deep breath. This is so special, I don't mention my own exercise. Why did I meet Obito? Co-authored Obito has something to do, but he still wants to run back to peek at the village? Simulation continues. You run desperately, waving your fists. Old bandages, sweating in the air. When the sun sets in the west, your figure appears by the long river bank. The breeze is blowing, and the water is glistening. Sweat soaks your shirt, your chest rises and falls sharply. But facing the wind, you look so elegant and handsome. Well, there is a sense of picture, and very strong, very strong. Tuo Yu nodded with great satisfaction. It is said that the character of hot-blooded teenagers is not popular anymore. But he doesn't think so. The main thing is that you are warm-blooded, but not too weak, in other words, you have to be cool. He likes this hot-blooded version of himself in The Sims. Tuo Yu, he is training again. Naruto, Choji and others, who were hanging out by the riverbank, saw your figure. You have dropped out of school for a week, and what you do every day is repetitive and boring training. It's quite hot-blooded. It's the same as the watermelon rind of the previous session. Why Mr. Guy didn't accept him as a disciple? This is what Xiaoqiang said about you. Although everyone doesn't know much about it, people who work hard are not disliked by everyone. Day 2, Day 3. Whether it's windy or rainy. You haven't stopped training for a day. 3 months later, your physical strength has increased significantly. You have 6-pack abs, and your vest line and mermaid line are clearly visible. This day, it is still the river bank in the evening, still sparkling. You run against the wind, Sweat dripping on the placket, you gasp heavily. At this moment, you notice that not far ahead, a child was sitting on the ground with his knees in his arms. You walked over and cleaned the wound for him. You untied the bandage, and after going around it twice, you took a bite and bandaged the wound for him. The little boy looks at you gratefully, his eyes are full of stars. He asked why you run every day, and you replied, for Konoha. Hearing this, the Xiaoqiangs who were sitting on the river bank not far away to enjoy the coolness were all expressionless. Especially Sasuke, after cutting an unhappy sentence, 3 words popped out of his mouth indifferently, false dakong. However, as everyone knows, in the next second, you patted the little boy's head with a smile, and changed his words. Actually, it was to protect you both. The little boy is at a loss, but you stand up silently and look at the sunset in the distance. My talent is not high, so I work harder than anyone else. I don't care what the village will become, but I must protect the people I love. The breeze is blowing, and your hair and clothes are flowing in the wind. You don't know. The little boy on the ground has never seen admiration and love in his eyes, and you don't know that the little strongmen who are enjoying the shade by the river are also dumbfounded, looking at your back in shock. You touch the little boy's head and say goodbye to him. But just when you turned around and ran away a few steps, he shouted loudly. When I grow up, I will learn to be like a big brother, work hard to train myself, and protect the people I love. You froze for a moment and stopped, but a second later you smiled and ran away. You don't have a chance. As you ran, you stretched out your hand without looking back. In my generation, peace will come. Just use my fist. Your hands condensed into fists in the air. Looking at your back, the little boy was stunned in place, and a group of Xiaoqiang were also shocked to the ground. You don't know how tall your image is at this moment. You don't know how shocking your words are to everyone. You don't know, on this day, 3 girls have completely fallen and fell in love with you. After watching this simulation, Tuo Yu is completely dumbfounded. His face was full of horror, he was stunned in place, unable to move for a long time. It's F*King too violent and bloody. Tuo Yu's face was flushed, and he was breathing heavily. To be frank, he has been seduced by himself. This hot-blooded version of me simply understands it too well, so flirtatious. I don't care what the village will become, but I must protect the people I love. You don't have a chance. In my generation, peace will come. This F*King. Is this what ordinary people can say? This absolute enlightenment, this height, this lethality. There is no 105-degree blood flowing through my body, I can't say this. Tuo Yu was starting to get a little nervous. Even he himself was swayed by himself. I don't know what kind of achievement he will finally achieve in this simulation. Maybe not just that little boy, but Naruto and Sasuke too, all fell for themselves. You train day and night to fight off your strength and hone your physique. Your body is getting stronger and stronger, and your fists are getting harder. 8 months later, you graduated. You are full of enthusiasm, volunteered to join Kakashi's team. In Kakashi's genin test, you successfully grabbed the bell. And in order not to abandon your companions, you risked being eliminated by feeding the bound Naruto. You successfully passed Kakashi's test, and you received praise from Naruto and little Sakura. Even Urzuzi, who has always been ruthless, arrogantly popped out 4 words. So. 3 days later, you received a mission from the Nation of Waves team. You are passionate. Naturally you will not miss this opportunity to exercise. You are willing to go and become the personal bodyguard of the employer Dasna. Are you going to start? Tuo Yu clenched his palms tightly and couldn't help but get nervous. Because this is the main plot of the original book. According to his previous strength, not to mention the country of waves, whether he can successfully pass the graduation exam is a problem. He would like to see how far he can achieve this simulation. On the second day, you and the 7th class embarked on the journey, and soon, you encountered the first enemy, which was 2 assassination ninjas lurking in the water. Because you are familiar with the plot, you are prepared when no one else notices. In the face of 2 sneak attacks, you successfully dealt with it and killed 1 person, and you were praised by Kakashi and worshipped by little Sakura. Not long after, you encountered the mastermind of this attack, that is, Taudi Zebuji. After reporting to each other, you started to fight. Zai Bu Zan launched the fog shadow technique, which caused the scene to fall into a vast fog. And if you don't cut it again, you will launch a verbal offensive, using psychological tactics to intimidate you. You were the first to be attacked. You were cut in the throat, and a huge amount of blood was spewed out instantly. You are dead. Your life ends here. Simulation ends. I rely on. Seeing this unexpected result, Tuo Yu scolded it on the spot. What the F*K? This is dead. The battle has just begun, and he died immediately. Did you make a mistake? Hey, System, are you simulating, right? I've been training for so long, but I just died in the first battle. Besides, I died so abruptly. Tuo Yu just feels numb. Special. In the first half just now, when I was cultivating, I was so windy and sultry. As a result, as soon as the actual combat started, it directly burped. Is this joking? Ding. Back to the host. The simulation of this system is presented according to the real and possible situation. You will be killed again without beheading. It is definitely not a mistake. This is a fact that has a very high probability. All results in the battle are based on the strength of both parties and the buffs carried by both parties. If host is in doubt, start the review below. What are you? What are you? Tuo Yu was about to curse, but the system immediately listed all the details of the two sides in the battle just now. No more slashing. Elite Jonin, Grandmaster, has various assassination techniques, and has rich combat experience. After releasing the haze technique, the environment buff is superimposed, and the action power is increased by more than 50%. Naruto. Son of 4th Hokage, 9 Tails Jinchuriki, male number 1 buff. Sasuke. Uchiha Orphan, Genius, male number 2 buff. Little Sakura. Unremarkable, female number 1 buff. Kakashi. The strength is comparable to that of No Slash, and the buff is opened 5 times. Tuo Yu. Ordinary genin, he was a mediocre 3-no manager 10 years ago, he obtained the middle-level King of Fighters talent 10 months ago, and the high-level Passion talent, worked hard for 10 months, lacked combat experience, and had average psychological quality. Affected by the environmental buff, sight, mobility, and willpower are reduced by more than 50%. After the battle begins, because you were affected by the fog, you felt a little panic in your heart. But you force yourself to calm down. However, at this time, if you don't cut off the language hint, the inner defense line of you, little Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke will be further destroyed. Even Sasuke was so frightened that he almost lifted up his kunai. Zabujan suddenly attacked from behind. Your reaction ability was average, and you were smeared on your neck with a knife. You are a normal human body, you do not have the ability to recover quickly, you can only die. After seeing the review of the system, Tuo Yu was speechless the whole time. Good guy, he straight up good guy. Even if you co-author yourself with the mid-level King of Fighters buff, you are still cannon fodder. But, on second thought, the simulation of this system seems to make some sense. To know, what kind of people are in Class 7? One of the strongest tailed beasts, Jinchuriki, the son of 4th Hokage. The Uchiha genius, one of the 2 strongest geniuses in Uchiha history. A person with a physique of 5-5, Kamui Sharingan, and the strongest behind-the-scenes boss in the ninja world, Otsutsuki Kagaya, can guard the wrist. What is this? This is not a rookie team at all, it is purely a coercive combination. As for myself, although I have some talent now, it is still too weak. To know the talent of the King of Fighters in the extreme, it refers to the genius of 1 in 100. Pick 1 in 100, put it in the ninja world, what is that? It's a medium talent. Most importantly, there is too little time for self-cultivation. In just 8 months, he has only improved the power of taijutsu a little, and he may have reached Sasuke's current taijutsu level. You must know that other Shaoqiang have practiced more than 10 years than him. Even if the strength gap can be made up, it cannot be completely erased. What explains all this is that although Tuo Yu has been practicing boxing, he has yet to develop a decent attacking move. Think of these. Tuo Yu felt relieved immediately. He didn't even feel distressed about himself, but began to feel distressed that he would not cut it again. Apart from him, it's a miracle that if you don't kill these 3 gangsters, you can finally get your life back. But, after thinking about it, it is also a fact that I am not very satisfied with this simulation. System. The battle you replayed just now does make sense, but is there another possibility that hasn't been deduced? If it wasn't me who attacked first, wouldn't it be possible for me to survive? Tuo Yu's analysis also makes sense. The haze technique that is not cut again does have a miraculous effect on assassination. Even someone as strong as Sasuke was so frightened that he almost committed suicide. Except for Kakashi, Naruto, Tuo Yu, little Sakura, Dasna, and Sasuke, the status of the 5 of them is similar. In other words, Zabujan is a random attack among the 5 of them. If it was someone else who attacked first, he might still be able to survive. Calculating. Ding. Congratulations to host for deducing an extra possibility. You can choose an extra reward, or continue with the breakpoint simulation just now. Forehead. Tuo Yu dragged his chin and thought for a few seconds. Although it is good to have one more reward, right now, what he wants is to continue the deduction. He wanted to see how far this hot-blooded version of the rookie King of Fighters could go. I choose to continue the game. Ding. continuing the simulation for you. The picture of life in the mind reappears. This time, it's straight from the point of never beheading again. After reporting to each other, you started to fight. Zai Bu Zan launched the fog shadow technique, which caused the scene to fall into a vast fog. And if you don't cut it again, you will launch a verbal offensive, using psychological tactics to intimidate you. Zabujan emerged from the fog and planned to attack Sasuke, but was stopped by Kakashi. Both of you are caught in an intense battle. Kakashi was trapped by the water prison technique. You, Naruto, and Sasuke played a combined tactic to rescue Kakashi. Zabujan and Kakashi formed 44 seals with each other, launched the water dragon bomb technique. Zabujan was defeated. Bai appeared, told a lie, and was ready to take Zabujan away. Although you know the truth about not beheading suspended animation, you can't bear to watch them die because of your passion, so you didn't expose the lie, but let them go. See here. Tuo Yu felt a little more at ease. That is to say, as long as he is not the first to attack him, he can still survive. 8 months of practice cannot be said to be too useful, at least it won't become cannon fodder all of a sudden. You continue on your way. Kakashi is healing at the hotel. You count the time, follow Naruto to pick herbs, and you meet Shiro in the forest. Naruto was fascinated by Bai, but when he learned that he was a man, he was completely dumbfounded. When Bai was about to leave, you followed. You and him came to a private grove, and you confessed the truth to him. You tell Bai Zabujan to leave quickly. You tell them there is no chance of winning. You tell him the configuration of his squad, that is 9 Tails Jinchuriki, Uchiha Genius, Copy Ninja Kakashi. You even revealed Shiro's skills and how he would lose after the battle with Naruto Sasuke. Bai was shocked. He questioned your purpose. You smile in the sunshine, revealing your white teeth. You tell him, don't let any of your companions die. It's good to kill a good person. This is your ninja way, the bloody kingly way. Bai left the forest with a lot of thought, and you also left with Naruto. A week later, you and the 7th team arrived at the now No Country Bridge. However, to your surprise, the fog is full of fog here, and there is not a single person in sight, but not long after, 2 people on the bridge are approaching. It is Zabuzan and Bai. What? See here. Tuo Yu frowned slightly, and couldn't help but feel puzzled. What's going on here? Didn't you tell the ending already? How could he still show up? With a surprised look, Tuo Yu continued to simulate. After discovering that the masked boy was the one who was taken away that day, Naruto and little Sakura were shocked and angry. You feel very puzzled. You questioned Bai loudly. Why did you come back? Bai's tone is cold, telling you that this is the fate of the ninja. Once a person chooses his own path, he can only bite the bullet and go on. Even if he knows that the final result is a dead end, he must persevere. This is ninja. Another kind of ninja that is completely opposite to your hot-blooded royal way. You are extremely sad and tangled, and you try to persuade again. But the battle has already begun. Bai deliberately avoided you and chose to trap Sasuke in the ice crystal barrier. But you and Naruto stubbornly barged in. You keep questioning Bai. Why does he still fight? Why does he come to fight this battle that must be lost? But Shiro was just an indifferent attack. His poisonous needles kept shooting out, and you, Sasuke, and Naruto all got hit. Your fist keeps resisting poison needles, but this level of hidden weapon, relying on your King of Fighters ability, you can easily block it. Shiro intensified his attack and his speed became faster. You and Sasuke were finally overwhelmed and fell to the ground. Naruto was furious and burst out 9 Tails chakra, instantly killing Bai. At the same time as being defeated, Bai was also extremely shocked, because the situation in which he was defeated was the same as what you told him before. Naruto yells, constantly questioning Shiro, why he is fighting to not kill that kind of person again. White told you his tragic life experience. Naruto, little Sakura, Dasna, everyone was shocked. After the confession, Bai walked up to you, bowed to you, and said sorry. Then, he gave up his resistance and planned to be killed by Naruto, but at this moment, he sensed the danger of not slashing again. After teleporting, Bai was ready to sacrifice himself and use his last survival value in this world to block him. Rakery of Kakashi. However, just as Kakashi's Rakery was about to pierce Shiro's heart, a figure suddenly rushed up. That is you. You stand in front of Shiro, one of your arms and shoulders are pierced by Rakery and fall down. A lot of blood spurted out, the ground dyed red. You suddenly made this move, watching everyone. Kakashi, Shiro, Sasuke, little Sakura, Naruto, Dasna. Even if he didn't cut, he looked panicked, and the knife in his hand couldn't help but fall. Everyone ran over crying. You were lying in little Sakura's arms, blood was flowing from the corners of your mouth, and your face showed the same sunny smile as usual. Naruto and little Sakura weep, Sasuke and Kakashi are shocked. Bai cried and yelled at you for being a fool, and asked why you did this. You look at the sky with a smile and tell him. Why? The body starts to move on its own. Hearing this, Bai and little Sakura couldn't bear it any longer, and knelt down and hugged you and cried. Dasuna, Naruto, and even Sasuke lost their voices in pain, and the scene was full of grief. Your bleeding is getting bigger and bigger, no matter how little Sakura and Kakashi first aid, they can't stop the wound. Your consciousness is getting more and more blurred, little Sakura is crying in pain and helpless, covering his face with your blood. Enough is enough, little Sakura. You comforted softly, it's enough. As you were dying, you looked at the sky and murmured with a confused look. I have a dream, that is, the long-term war in the ninja world will end in your generation. I want to protect everyone who is worthy of protection, I don't want innocent people to be killed. Even the rebels abandoned by the village have the right to live, don't they? After you finished speaking, all the people on the scene, Kakuzu's eyes were wet and red. Zabujan falls to his knees weakly, weeping. At the last moment of your life, you turned your head slightly, looked at Kakashi and asked, Kakashi-sensei, I have it, do you take care of everyone? Kakashi nodded solemnly. Yes. With a smile, you silently murmured. This is it. You slowly closed your eyes and left this world with no regrets. Your life ends here. Simulation ends. Watch this entire simulation. Tuo Yu's whole body fell into a huge shock, and he couldn't calm down for a long time. It took half a minute for him to come back to his senses. Then he let out a long breath. Depend on. This taste is too strong. Real. This wave of simulations made Tuo Yu dumbfounded. When he was still cultivating in the village before, the series of operations, inadvertently provoking the little boy, was enough to shock him. But where to get it? In the real battle, his blood kingship has actually taken a higher level. When Bai cried and yelled at him for being a fool and asked him why he did it. The sentence he replied. Why? The body starts to move on its own. As well as. At the end, when he was dying, he asked Kakashi's sentence. I have it, do you take care of everyone? Good guy. Real, a hot-blooded teenager who hasn't been for decades can never say such a thing. If this simulation didn't die, it is estimated that Shiro and little Sakura would fall completely, right? Tuo Yu shook his head helplessly, he felt a tinge of regret. After all, it's still not strong enough. The other Xiaoqiang have protagonist buffs, but he, just a medium talent, is really not enough to watch. Ding. Simulation is over, in the process of settlement. Please wait, ding. This simulation, the score is A. Hearing the system sound, Tuo Yu was slightly taken aback. What? Why is the rating so high? Tuo Yu was a little shocked. Didn't you die in the end in this simulation just now? And he was murdered by his own people. That's it. How can I get in a grade? Ding. The scoring rules of this system are based on the thoughts of the host in this simulation. In this sim's life, you become a hot-blooded teenager, and your dream is to save your partner and fight for justice. Although in the end, you were killed by Kakashi by mistake, you died for someone else, and that person is not your friend, but an enemy, which makes you more courageous. In the end, you also successfully saved the lives of the two of them, and were recognized by Kakashi, and Naruto, little Sakura and the others will always remember them in their hearts. It is a death without regret. This. Hearing the system crackling and applauding, Tuo Yu felt a little uncomfortable. However, he can understand now. As long as you can achieve your long-cherished wish, just like with Hinata before, even if the ending is bleak, the score can still be very high. I'm just afraid of that kind of death before leaving the apprenticeship. Once the sword is ready, you will be stunned when you go out. This will definitely not get a high rating. Ding. Given that you have a grade. You can choose one of the following rewards. 1. The cumulative amount of chakra for more than 8 months. 2. More than 8 months of boxing experience. 3. 8 months of physical growth. Glancing at the reward, Tuo Yu fell into a brief thought. 1 is definitely not necessary. People without talent, let alone 8 months, 8 years of chakra may not necessarily grow much. Option 2. Although it seems to be very useful, but if you think about it carefully, it seems like that. Because the most crucial thing in boxing, moves, he didn't develop them. Medium talent, plus 8 months of practice, the boxing skills obtained are improved, and that's it. The point is, if next time I draw a more advanced King of Fighters talent, get a longer training time, and practice real moves, the experience this time will be directly overwritten. Instead, it's the third. Tuo Yu swallowed a mouthful of saliva. During these 8 months of simulation, he really felt the whole process. Both wind and rain, tempering the body day after day. If nothing else, he really wanted those 8-pack abs. System, I choose 3, after the order is given. For a moment, Tuo Yu felt that his body had undergone earth-shaking changes. Muscles, bones, skin, have become stronger. Body is much better. Take off your clothes and take a look, good guy. Chest muscles, abdominal muscles, inverted triangles, mermaid lines, the lines that should be there, he does not miss any. Body lines, sharp edges and corners, this. Look at your new look in the mirror. Tuo Yu immediately felt like he had made the right choice. After the body became stronger, even the fainting feeling of receiving information all at once weakened a lot. After silently admiring his body in front of the mirror for a while, Tuo Yu put on clothes. Go ahead and start the simulation. System. Start the simulation. Ding. Talent is being drawn for you. The roulette wheel of the system turns. After 3 seconds. The pointer stops. Ding. The extraction was successful. You have drawn talents. The King of Fighters, black, and different face, black. After seeing these 2 talents, Tuo Yu's pupils suddenly froze. Even breathing has become unbearable. Double black talent. If Tuo Yu remembered correctly, black talent is the second strongest talent besides black and gold. In other words, if black and gold are gods, black is demigods. In the simulation just now, he just got a black talent for his personality, but this time, his combat talent is also black. Is it about to take off? Tuo Yu's heart was beating wildly. On the system side, a quick introduction is also given. The King of Fighters. The fist is your strongest and best weapon, you will be famous for the power of the fist, and your title will also be related to the fist. Black is a very high level. This kind of talent can no longer be calculated by the ratio of ordinary people, it can only be understood. Indifferent face. You are very cold, you see everything as a dog, you only have yourself in your eyes, you don't care to talk to anyone, you don't express your heart easily, you don't even show your true feelings, you are just one in this world. Nails, a sharp knife. Black is a very high level, you are unsmiling, just standing here, the cold breath on your body is suffocating. F*K. Seeing the comment on this cold face, Tuo Yu couldn't help but bring in a few faces. Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha Obito, Ulquiorra. These people are probably the black, indifferent face, level. If it is god level, it should be heavenly pain. After all, it is a real corpse, there is no expression, and there is no temperature, the body is indeed the breath of death, the cold breath. Fortunately, this time it is a black King of Fighters talent. If there is a red one, it will become a second pillar. The strength of a weak chicken, plus a ruthless personality, this is Uchiha Sasuke. Take a deep breath. Tuo Yu calmed down silently. Then. Command in your head. Start the simulation. Start the simulation. Already carried talents. The King of Fighters, black, and different face, black. The screen is being generated in real time. Please wait. After a hasty mechanical sound, Tuo Yu started a new life as if he had experienced it himself. The so-called body replacement technique. In the class, Mr. Iruka explained one of the 3 body techniques that the benevolent must have. A group of Konoha Shaoqiang listened attentively, but you, sitting in the last row of the classroom, looked indifferent. Body replacement technique? Clone technique? Transformation technique? Just by teaching these things, what can you learn? On the battlefield, he is also a cannon fodder. You listened silently to the morning class and the afternoon class, but you completely ignored what Iruka said. Finally, it's time for school. Naruto and Choji, with a cheerful look on their faces, go to eat ramen while shouting. Ino comes over and invites you carefully. But you ignored it, just stood up from your seat indifferently, put Kabuto in both hands, and went home without a word. Cut. Pretend. That's right, it's better than Sasuke. Forget it. Tuo Yu may not be in a good mood, call him next time. This is what your classmates say about you. To be honest, your unsmiling appearance is quite personal, at least in Yamanaka Ino's eyes, you are bright and handsome. Seeing your indifferent back, Ino's face flushed red and he became crazy. This. Seeing this, Tuo Yu frowned slightly. It turns out that Ino likes the cold type. No wonder Sasuke and Saishi can call. You walked silently on the street alone, found a restaurant with no people, and said coldly to the boss. 1 bowl of fried noodles, 3 xiaolongbao, 1 plate of barbecued meat, and a large portion of peanut porridge. You sit in the corner and eat dinner in silence. Because the gloomy aura on you is too strong, the guests who wanted to sit next to them all subconsciously changed their positions. Mom. Look at that person, he is here to eat alone again. In the next seat, a cute little girl with a ponytail pointed to your position and asked his mother with a surprised expression. As for her mother, her face was pale, and she immediately covered the child's mouth with fright. Stupid, stupid child. What nonsense are you talking about? Be careful to be killed. The atmosphere in the entire store became weird because of this sentence. No one dares to make a sound, everyone is looking at you nervously, for fear that the next second you will make impulsive actions. But to this, you have no reaction at all. Just pick up vegetables, chew, and drink porridge silently. This seemingly bland way of eating is extremely lethal in this chilling atmosphere. Every customer is frightened, silently bowing his head to eat, and speeding up. And you, neither hurry nor slow, have maintained the original speed. After eating, you silently walk to the stage and put down the banknote on the table without looking back. This is exactly the right amount, 1 point more and 1 point less. When you walk to the little girl's table, the indifference to freezing breath seemed to pierce people's nostrils, making it impossible to breathe. Big brother. Why are you always alone? The innocent little girl didn't feel the ominous aura emanating from you. She just often saw you coming to dinner alone and felt sorry for you, so she just asked a question out of curiosity. You paused and glanced at the little girl calmly. But you didn't say a word, just left silently. F*K. Seeing this simulation of eating, Tuo Yu was a little dazed. He remembered that just now, in his life as a king of fighters, he also had a meal and met a little girl. But at that time, he was the sunshine of the audience. Incredibly warm sun. But now, an entire abyss black hole. The atmosphere, really, is so suffocating. After swallowing a mouthful of saliva, Tuo Yu adjusted his breathing and continued to simulate. You are walking on the street in silence. Because of your withdrawn personality, no one dares to approach you to start a conversation with you. Even after seeing your indifferent face, many people gave way to hide. Hey. Tuo Yu, is he still like this? Beside the street, 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen watched you walk down the road lonely and sighed helplessly. Kakashi and Might Guy also shook their heads regretfully. This kid has an even more withdrawn personality than Uchiha Sasuke. Yeah. It's completely untouchable. I'm so anxious. Amid the discussions of Kakashi and others, your figure gradually drifted away. Go home. You closed the door and sat quietly on the bed alone. Although in the eyes of others, you are withdrawn, indifferent, and difficult to contact. But in fact, you look down on them. Yes, you have a powerful talent that the entire ninja world can't match, whether it's Konoha's Little Strong, Kakashi, Might Guy, 3rd Hokage. Even the legendary Uchiha Madara, Senju Hashirama, their talents are not as strong as yours. Yes, this is your King of Fighters talent. When you actually feel its power, you decide that you will use this pair of fists to blow up the entire ninja world. So, strong? Simulate to the latest segment. The momentum that Tuo Yu felt was completely different from before. It's not the kind of hardworking 3-no talented personnel, nor is it the incompetent roar of low-talented and low-quality talents. Instead, he truly has the state of being a strong man, and fights the arrogance and invincibility that comes from his heart. He just has the confidence to bombard the entire ninja world. The strong wind and rain, the falling thunder blasted my ears. It was a stormy weather, all the shops on the street were closed, and the villagers evacuated to their homes one after another, hiding under the eaves for shelter from the rain. However, this is a good weather for you. You walked out the door with a flat expression, without any defensive equipment, just bathing in the storm alone. Outside the village, an empty land. You raise your hands and throw your fists in the air. Whizzing. The first few strokes are just ordinary warm-up movements, with standard postures, and they don't seem to be very powerful. But suddenly, your aura exploded instantly. A burst of airbang, like rolling thunder, exploded in front of you. The rain in the air even exploded into a spherical shape because of the air pressure from this punch. A big tree in front of you has even been cut by this violent fist style. You restrain your breath, concentrate all the energy in your body, and throw a punch. Boom. Like a small cannonball explosion, more than 10 old trees were interrupted by the middle, and a deep pit was blown out on the ground. You squeeze your fist and seem to be very satisfied with this power. Taking advantage of the rain, you quickly throw your fists and start further exercise. Your fist pierces through the rain, your hair sticks to your cheeks, you are like a silent volcano, gathering strength for the next eruption. You secretly set the ultimate goal in your heart, you have to sharpen your fist to the ultimate, the power of one punch is enough to blow up a mountain. See the simulation this time, Tuo Yu's heart. There are literally countless grass and mud horses running by. What's so special, as this called talent suppression? Tuo Yu clenched his fists and felt his heart shake. In the previous life, he also carried the talent of the King of Fighters, but because the talent level was not high, it was only at the red level. Even if he had been training for 8 months, he was still at the level of ordinary Chunin. But now, the number 2 black talent. I haven't trained much at all. I just hold a strong will and wave, and the power of my fist is already so terrifying. Breaking a dozen trees that were hugged by one person with one punch? Make a big hole 5 or 6 meters wide on the ground. This kind of power, I am afraid it has already caught up with the 6th door of the 8 Dunjia. The combat power is close to the level of elite Jonin. This time, there must be an A-level result. To be able to get this kind of power is already worth the ticket price. Tuo Yu stabilized his mind and continued to simulate. You continue to fish at school, and your training is mostly concentrated in the middle of the night. You don't train every day, you just go out on a whim, or when the weather is extremely difficult to detect. Seeing this, Tuo Yu patted his thigh anxiously. Because. Too slack. This time, although he has a very high talent, his personality is not like the previous enthusiastic youth, allowing him to be open and above board and train all the time. Because, for a cold personality, too much training will make you look stupid. Come on, in the eyes of a cold genius, you don't care about cultivating at all, okay? Those who have to rely on their own efforts, climb up step by step, and become stronger bit by bit, are all waste in their eyes, right? Tuo Yu just feels like a bit of a waste of resources. If such a good fighting talent, coupled with the blood mode just now. I am afraid that I will surpass the strength of the cage-level powerhouse in an instant. If you train for 5 or 6 years according to the intensity of the hot-blooded mode, I am afraid that it will be punched out, and the power will be stronger than Tailed Beast Bomb. Time passed bit by bit, and soon the day of graduation from the ninja school came. On the podium, Iruka asked you to take on his likeness in turn. Except for Naruto's seduction, all the other students successfully passed the exam. However, when you came on the court, you didn't transform successfully, and you didn't even make the move. There are discussions in the classroom, and Sarutobi Hiruzen, who is peeping outside the crystal ball, frowns. After Iruka asked you the reason, you answered calmly, you won't, you have been in the ninja school for years, and you have never listened to the class seriously. There is an uproar at the scene. All the students, teachers, Sarutobi Hiruzen in the Hokage office, their jaws dropped and their faces were shocked. Iruka is anxious, because you can't transform, you can't pass the exam, and you have to repeat the class. But at this moment, you calmly explained, although your 3-body technique is not good, you should be able to graduate with your fists. There is another uproar at the scene. Sasuke's face is full of disdain, and Naruto calls you bragging. Choji and Inuzuka yaw talk and jeer, while Hinata and Ino look at you worriedly. After struggling, Iruka decides to test you. When you come to the playground, after seeing him posing, you frown slightly and ask Iruka to change. Iruka is puzzled. Please explain patiently and ask him to find someone stronger to fight you, otherwise it will kill you. At this moment, the entire ninja school burst out with unprecedented exclamations. All kinds of exclamations, doubts, ridicules, resounding endlessly. Since you entered the ninja school, you have never received such high attention. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen outside the crystal ball raised his arms with great interest, waiting for your performance. Although Iruka is embarrassed, he still tries his best to protect your face, and the teacher Mizuki next to him comes over with dissatisfaction. He smiled sarcastically, and jokingly said that he is a little better than Iruka, otherwise, he will be your opponent. You have a flat expression, shaking your head and rejecting. Come stronger, or you will die. Teacher Shuimu smiles slightly, resisting the murderous aura in his heart, but does not show it. But in the next second, he immediately performed the body flicker technique and rushed in front of you. He wants to teach you a lesson, however. Boom. You just pack a punch, and the ground under your feet is blasted into a deep pit. Shui Mu was shot 10 meters away as if bombed by missiles. After smashing a wall and being buried in the rubble, the person has passed out. The audience is silent. Naruto, Little Sakura, Sasuke, Iruka, Sarutobi Hiruzen. All of them stared at you with wide-eyed horror as if they had seen a ghost. And you just put away your fists with a flat expression, and said indifferently, I pulled back and only broke a few of his ribs. At this moment, there seems to be light shining on you. Exclamations, screams, resounded throughout the ninja school. And in the confusion, your eyes swept to Ino, she covered her lips and stared at you with a blushing face. Obviously, your handsome operation has completely conquered this lovely girl. F*K. Seeing the simulated battle this time, Tuo Yu was deeply shocked. This is the F*King of Fighters, the king of fighters at the black talent level. One punch hits a Mizuki. If I remember correctly, Shuimu's strength should be at the Chunin level, and now I'm knocking him out in seconds. What kind of power is this? Cage level powerhouse? No, maybe even higher. In Tuo Yu's impression, with such a powerful fist, I am afraid that in the ninja world, only Tsunade, 3rd generation, 4th Raikage, Pain who is blessed by Shinra Tensai, and Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama can do it. Among these people, the most inferior are cage-level powerhouses. And now he has reached the same level as them. Wrong. Even higher, with tension. Tuo Yu continues the simulation. You successfully graduated from the ninja school. That night, you were driven by the Shaoqiangs to eat barbecue like the stars in the moon. On the way home, when everyone else had dispersed, Ino walked up to you with a shy face. She blushed and confessed to you. She said that she likes strong men, especially strong and cold men. But you told her coldly, a woman will only affect the speed of my punches. I rely on. Seeing this, Tuo Yu squirted out on the spot. This idiot himself, what a straight man of steel. Everyone Ino took the initiative to confess, and actually gave such a straightforward response. Take it home and rush her. Tuo Yu is numb. It seems. With such a cold-faced talent, there is a high probability that there will be no rushing thoughts in his mind. After all, he really couldn't think of characters like Uchiha Itachi, Tiando Pain, and Ulquiorra who would rush people. After being rejected by you, Ino was not only not disappointed, but even more excited. 3 days later, the ninja school will be assigned Genin. You are assigned to the 7th class because of your high talent and amazing strength. However, when reporting, you did not come to Kakashi. Instead, you came to 3rd Hokage's office, and you told him that you didn't want to participate in any divisions, and you didn't want to be in the company of anyone. Have you begun to take a different route? Tuo Yu dragged his chin. Indeed, for him at present, it is indeed more useful to divide classes than to go it alone. After all, the current Naruto, Sasuke and others are far from their own strength. To put it bluntly, it is a group of dragging oil bottles. Besides, with his lonely personality, how do you form a team? There is simply no teamwork possible. Sarutobi Hiruzen is surprised by your proposal, but in the end, agrees to your request. He invites you to the underground prison of Konoha Anbu, where prisoners from other villages are held. Choose 2 people to defeat them, and I will grant you the title of Chunin. This is a condition given by Sarutobi Hiruzen, because only by becoming a Chunin can you skip the process of forming a team and directly participate in the mission of the village as a ninja. You ordered 2 ferocious-looking cloud shinobi, and threw 2 punches with full force, destroying them instantly. Seeing the corpse with broken bones, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and countless Anbu ninjas, were shocked. Everyone agrees that you have surpassed Uchiha Sasuke and Hyuga Neji to become the #1 genius of Konoha village. Seeing this, those 2 words popped out of Tuo Yu's heart. Talent. Really, in the ninja world, talent is so important. Effort determines the lower limit, talent determines the upper limit. But the upper limit determined by talent is about 1 million times the lower limit. An ordinary person, if his talent is not high, even if he has a very poor life, he is at most a chunin in the water. Refer to your previous self. And those families with high talent, such as Uchiha, Senju. The descendants of these people are born, and they have basically crushed most people. This Black King of Fighters' talent, according to Tuo Yu's estimation, may be the strongest single fist other than One Punch Man Saitama's fist. No Saiyan energy, no microcosm, no magic, no hockey, no other skills. His fist, if developed potential to ultimate. It may really be only a little weaker than Saitama's fist. You successfully promoted to Chunin and began to accept the mission of the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen, with the heart of love and talent, intends to cultivate you well, so the tasks he gives are all step by step. On the first day of becoming Chunin, you were responsible for killing more than 10 bandits hiding in Yamanaka outside Konoha village. You are happy to go, of course, all your tasks are completed by one person. That night, you arrived at the target location. You enter the camp and start fighting. You killed all the enemies, everyone was shattered by your beatings, you looted their money, a small part was brought back to the village, and most of them were hidden in your own home. On the second day, you went out to set up a black household and deposited the money in it, with a total of 300,000 taels. The next week, you start learning some basic ninjutsu with the help of Sarutobi Hiruzen. 3 body technique, transformation technique, body replacement technique. Although these rubbish ninjutsu are not powerful, they can still come in handy at critical times. After a month of practice, you have the skill of elite chunin. Speed, agility, and fighting skills have made great progress. Only at this time did you realize that to become a real powerhouse, you cannot rely only on fists, but also on body skills. So in your spare time, you began to work hard to cultivate various combat skills. The purpose is to allow your fist to exert its power to the greatest extent. In the 3rd month, you received the second task. Go to the Konoha village border and suppress a group of rebels, about 30 in number. After a week of rushing, you arrived at your destination. However, at this time, you find yourself fooled, because this time the number of enemies is not 30 at all, but 300. It was only at this moment that you realized that this is a game set up by Sarutobi Hiruzen, not to kill you, but to train you. In unexpected circumstances, fight with 300 people at a time. You fought very hard in this battle, you were injured in many places, and almost died. But you still completed the task and wiped out all 300 people. And you understand one more thing, the battlefield is often more complicated than imagined, especially hand-to-hand combat, you must have a lot of fighting skills and experience. The first time you feel that your skills are insufficient, and the first time you feel that you need to become stronger. A week later, you return to the village, when your broken body appeared in Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Shimura Danzo, Udatane Kaharu, were all stunned. Because they know that this is a test given to you by Sarutobi Hiruzen. It is almost impossible to deal with 300 people alone. They all bet you won't come back, but you did come back. Sarutobi Hiruzen was shocked and overjoyed. Your performance made him feel that you are a person who can be cultivated. You feel very surprised, because you remembered that you read so many Hokage novels in your previous life, all of which were against third generation, but at this moment, you actually think he is okay. After some measurement and probing, you find that Sarutobi Hiruzen is not pretending to use you. You are thinking, you can get a lot of benefits from third generation, so you choose to cooperate with him. You made up a reason to link Orochimaru with that group of rebels, and let him know that Orochimaru was about to invade Konoha.
You make up a reason, saying that on your way back to the village, you found the corpse of 4th Kazekage in the land of wind and the land of fire, so guess Orochimaru may pretend to be 4th Kazekage.
Your information has greatly stimulated Sarutobi Hiruzen, he trusts you more, and at the same time, decides to teach you more fighting skills. Under the guidance of Sarutobi Hiruzen, you practice hard. In addition to fighting movement skills, you are also practicing your boxing skills. Your strength is growing increasingly visible. 1 month later, the Chunin exam was held as scheduled. Because of the information you disclosed in advance, Orochimaru intercepted it the moment he stepped into the Konoha village, and joined Jiraiya, Kakashi, Asuma and other Konoha masters to kill it. Sarutobi Hiruzen was impressed by your magic trick, because you were right, and Orochimaru actually pretended to be 4th Kazekage. Yakushi Kabuto, Kidomaru, and Orochimaru's subordinates are all stupid. They never dreamed that the Konoha collapse plan was over before it even started. Yakushi Kabuto and others fled Konoha immediately, and Sarutobi Hiruzen did not issue an order to pursue them, because he felt that these people did not pose a threat. Chunin exams are held as usual, but you are indifferent because you don't have to take the exams either. Shikamaru got the qualification for Chunin, and Sasuke was seriously injured by Gaara who was completely runaway. After the exam, Sarutobi Hiruzen paid more attention to you and regarded you as a confidant. He unreservedly taught you all his housekeeping skills, even the telescope technique used for peeping. One night, Sarutobi Hiruzen asked you to come to his house. You go with pleasure, and in his home you get a worn-out scroll from Sarutobi Hiruzen. He smiled and told you, when he is old, the future of the village will belong to you young people, and you are the talent he values most. You open that scroll and find that what is recorded on it is the proud ninjutsu of the 4th Hokage, Flying Thunder God. You are pleasantly surprised, but at the same time, a little melancholy. Because, Flying Thunder God is a time-space ninjutsu that requires extremely high cultivation talent. With your current aptitude, it is absolutely impossible to cultivate to the level of 4th Hokage.
But you don't care too much, even if you can't cultivate to the level of teleportation, it's enough to increase your movement speed.
So, you took Flying Thunder God and started to practice harder. I feel that this wave is the rhythm to be accomplished. Seeing this more and more outrageous development, Tuo Yu's blood boils. He originally thought that he would join the 7th squad and fight against them again, just like last time. But where to think, it has completely deviated from the track. Became 3rd Hokage's confidant, and also got his true biography. 3rd Hokage's taijutsu, it should be very strong. Although 3rd generation is often criticized as the strongest Hokage, there is no doubt that his physical skills are very strong. In the original book, 3rd Hokage and Impure World Reincarnation's 1st generation 2nd generation played against each other. With an aging body, they just fought with 2 big hookers. 3rd generation loses because it doesn't hang. In the entire ninja world, 3rd Hokage should be able to rank 1st. This is simply too good for Tuo Yu. He needs this basic fighting skill. Because if 3rd generation taught him other arts, he wouldn't be able to learn it either. Such a strong talent, if coupled with hard training, maybe, there will really be a king of fighters. Simulation continues. Because third Hokage is still alive, Orochimaru did not plant strawberries for Sasuke, Uchiha Itachi and Kisame did not come to the village, Sasuke did not defect to Konoha. So for the next 3 years, the village was very peaceful. Naruto, little Sakura, Sasuke, led by Kakashi, continue the mission. Other Shaoqiang also made slow progress. And you are madly practicing, brushing quests, and practicing boxing crazily. You have learned 5% of the Flying Thunder God technique, allowing you to move faster than ordinary people. Your fist is harder than a diamond. With a single punch, it can burst out with power beyond S-rank physique. Wojin and Uncle Gang in the full-time hunter, Garp in the pirate world. You think that if they fight against you, they are not your opponents. You start to perform more crazy tasks. You annihilated 19 rebel gangs, thousands of bandits and pirates. You alone defeated all the masters in the entire Takian village, escorted the princes of 8 countries, and with your own strength, the country of fire annexed the country of soup and the country of grass. You realize that these tasks contain Sarutobi Hiruzen's huge ambitions, but you ignore them, because you just want to throw a punch, and the more exaggerated the task, the more famous you will be. You accept it readily, even volunteered to perform more terrifying missions. Your strength is getting stronger and stronger, your reputation is getting bigger and bigger. The enemies you fight against are either slag or smashed to pieces. You have become the strongest ninja in the new generation. Everyone in the whole ninja world knows that your nickname, Ninja King of Fighters. You made Sasuke and Naruto shiver, you just walked past little Sakura and Ino, the powerful breath made them fascinated. F*K. Did you make it? Seeing this life simulation, I have come to this point. Every pore on Tuoyu's body is shaking, King of Fighters. Great power. He prestige. In terms of purpose alone, he has succeeded in this simulation. However, when you were 17 years old, your strength had reached its peak, but at the same time, you attracted the attention of the Akatsuki organization. Besides, 3rd Tsuchikage, 4th Raikage, and Uchiha Obito are all eyeing you. Your existence makes them feel terrified. In their words, that is, Konoha, such an awesome existence is not allowed. Your shattering fist, coupled with Sarutobi Hiruzen's ambition, makes it hard for people not to doubt that your purpose is to annex the entire ninja world. So, they started to hunt you down, this? Chasing me? Tuoyu's pupils shrank, his brows slightly wrinkled. To be honest, he had considered this development. The first shot of the gun, he is so strong, it will definitely affect the plan of the Shao organization. I just don't know, even the old thing's 4th Raikage and Onogi have their eyes on him. The first ones who came to the door were Uchiha Itachi and Kisame. Instructed by Pain, Uchiha Itachi and Kisame team up to go to Konoha to inspect your abilities. Their appearance caused a riot at the head of the village, Kakashi, Naruto, Sasuke, Might Guy, Asuma. Everyone in the village went up. Sasuke rushed up with a clamor. A few dozen. I'm going to kill you. Then he was instantly smashed, 3 ribs were broken by his big brother, and Kisame kicked him away. Others go up to besiege collectively, but they are not opponents. And at this time, although you have already arrived at the scene, you are hidden in the dark. Because, you know that Uchiha Itachi has 3 skills that you can't resist. Amaterasu, Tsukuyomi, and Distinguished Heavenly Gods by Uchiha Shisui. As for the 10-fist sword, you think he should have no chance to use it. You silently observe the battlefield. When Uchiha Itachi activates Mangekyo for the 3rd time, he activates Susa. The battlefield is in a state of collapse in an instant. All Konoha's ninjas, Naruto, little Sakura, Ino, are all shocked by the giant in front of them. They said that they have never seen such a thing. Can this also be called ninjutsu? For a minute, everyone frantically used skills against Susanoo, but it was like scraping, and Uchiha Itachi was not hurt at all. Susanoo went on a killing spree, destroying dozens of buildings in the village. Kakashi, Special Guy and others were also injured. Unfortunately, Asuma was killed by Susa Hammer, was smashed into meat sauce. Everyone is praying, I hope you can come. And at this moment, you, who were watching from a distance, finally waited for the opportunity. Uchiha Itachi and Susanoo, because of excessive use of Mangekyo, the corners of his eyes began to bleed, and he covered his eyes in pain. Almost in an instant, you rushed into the battlefield in a thunderous posture. Gather your strength and knock out Uchiha Itachi's Susa with one punch. You didn't give him any chance to fight back, you didn't even give him a chance to open his eyes, you punched Uchiha Itachi in the head. Brain flowers, eyeballs, plasma. Uchiha Itachi's corpse, turned into countless blood scum, scattered on the ground. At this moment, the world seems to pause. Everyone, their eyes widened in horror, not knowing what happened just now. Kisame on the other side also opened two round eyes, as if seeing some kind of hallucination. But in the next second, Kisami's consciousness disappeared. Because your fist, like a round of solid iron hammer, smashed on an egg, Kisami's head was instantly smashed by you. Brain flowers, eyeballs, plasma. Kisame has absolutely nothing above his neck, his corpse fell and turned into a headless horseman. Is this because I'm afraid of wrangling, so even the battle process is simulated? However, I have become so strong. When I saw myself in the video, I instantly saw two masters of the Akatsuki organization, and one of them was Uchiha Itachi, and Tuo was shocked. You must know that the hardness of Susanoo's shell is not comparable to ordinary defensive ninjutsu. Danzo has no past, not even a spark. Even Uchiha Sasuke, when he was fighting against Uchiha Itachi, drew out his Kusanagi sword, leapt high, and stabbed it with all his strength, but it didn't have the slightest effect. In Tuo's impression, there seems to be only one person in the whole ninja world who broke Susa directly with his fist. That's right, Tsunadeheim. In the Battle of the Five Shadows against Uchiha Madara. Tsunade Baihao technique was fully open, and 4th Raikage used lightning style to assist her to speed up, and finally broke a Susa of Uchiha Madara. However, it is hard to say whether it is really broken or not. Because at that time Uchiha Madara was actually releasing water to tease them with 5 shadows. And the Susa and Uchiha Madara that Tsunade destroyed were nothing more than a wood clone of Lord Madara. And now myself. It was so strong that it blew Susa with one punch, and also blow up the dog heads of Uchiha Madara and Hoshigaki Kisame. The power of this fist, I am afraid it has reached its peak. After defeating these two people, you are not at all happy or excited, and you do not even have a sense of accomplishment in your heart. Sarutobi Hiruzen was furious, because he never dreamed that the pawn he arranged by himself would kill his son by mistake. The news that you killed 2 members of the Akatsuki organization quickly spread, and the Akatsuki organization, Tsuchikage, Raikage's office, were shocked. Obito senses that you have become an uncontrollable threat and orders Nagato to go and kill you. 6 Paths Pain, Kakuzu, Deidara, Sasori of Akasha, Konan. Akatsuki has dispatched a full 5 people, 11 people in total, to encircle you. One day 3 months later, you were walking on the border of the Land of Wind, and at this moment, you encountered a sneak attack. First, 2 puppets, father and mother, suddenly emerged from the desert and waved their scythes at you. You turn left and right, punch one at a time, instantly turn puppets into pieces. But during the interval between your attacks, the 3rd puppet, 3rd Kazekage, emerged from the desert in front of you, lying on your face and disturbing your vision. Then, Hirayuhu, who wrapped Sasori's body, jumped from the big clay bird in the sky and frantically released poison needles. You waved your fist, the iron fist shattered most of the poisonous needles, but a few were still nailed to your body. Your body began to be paralyzed instantly, but you did not hesitate for half a second. Rich combat experience tells you that if Sasori of Red Sand is not eliminated in the shortest time, he will release more poisonous needles. So you immediately launched the body flicker technique, faced the poisonous needle flow, killed Sasori of the Red Sand, and then punched hard, smashing his outer shell, together with the body inside, to shreds. You take out the antidote and take it quickly. This antidote is a drug you will carry with you every time you go to the Land of Wind to do a mission. Because you know that there is an old woman named Chiyo here who is very good at using poison, and these antidote are left by Tsunade in the past, just in case, is what Sarutobi Hiruzen often tells you. After taking the antidote, your symptoms of poisoning have eased slightly, but only relieved, not relieved. The poison developed by Sasori of Akasha, as long as it enters the human body, can instantly paralyze people. You just prolong the time of paralysis as long as possible. You know it is not good, and you must evacuate here quickly. Boom. At this time, Deidara's clay bomb, falling from the sky. Because he is lurking high in the sky, your fists can't reach it, plus your poison attack, so the distance you can escape is limited. The huge blasting sound resounds through the desert, and the yellow sand gathers in the air. You were hit by the shock waves of the C2 and C3 bombs, and you were injured. I go. Seeing this, Tuoyu's fist became hard involuntarily. So, as soon as the poison is used, I will not mention it, but also form a group to fight. Sure enough, the kind of story where the gourd baby saves the grandfather comes up one by one, only in some crazy animations. Akatsuki organizes this kind of organization. All of them are rebels and ninjas with rich combat experience. Once the opponent's strength is assessed, the most secure means will be used to solve the target. In their eyes, Tuoyu is an extremely dangerous existence. So, it must all go together. First use poison to weaken his strength, and then use a combination of ninjutsu, without giving him a chance to breathe. Although he was upset, Tuo Yu knew that the real battle was so complicated. After all, the Shao organization has already sent 11 people. You let people come up one by one to deliver? With this kind of IQ, what kind of terrorist organization is it? Disband on the spot. Your feet, waist, and cheeks were all injured by bombs. You planned to escape into the forest, but you didn't expect that at this time, Kakuzu and Hidan were already standing there. He launched a grudge early, and the tentacles of blood vessels burrowed out of the desert, binding your hands and feet. Success. Kakuzu-senpai. Hidan is holding the March sickle, showing a crazy smile, and taking the opportunity to sneak attack from the side. However, your fists broke free from the shackles of blood vessels earlier. Your punch is like a missile explosion. Beat Hidan directly into a puddle of meat paste. Deidara in the sky, Pain, Konan, and Kakuzu on the ground are all terrified of your combat power. They all thought that Sasori's poison would work, but they didn't expect you to be so capable. Kakuzu was shocked for a few seconds, and immediately separated 3 heart monsters from his back. Fire-style head hard. Laden thunder tiger bites and kills. Wind-style vacuum wave. The 3 levels of complementary ninjutsu overlap together, creating a powerful shockwave. You raise your right fist and are about to wave to break up this wave of fusion ninjutsu. But suddenly, a huge contraction rolled over you. Universal pull. Pain works silently. You look up at the sky with extreme hatred. But in the next second, a huge ninjutsu combined wave will run through your whole body. Your body was bombarded by lightning and high-temperature flames, and your whole body was severely burned. The skins on the shoulders, chest, waist and abdomen were scorched and smoked. You wave your fists like crazy, but the next second, a piece of white paper is stuck on your face. Next, second, third. Conan's origami technique wraps your whole body in an instant. This trick is a nemesis for you. Because the paper is stuck to you, you can't break it, especially in the case of severe injuries. Your body is unable to move again, imprisoned by the huge space pressure. Your body is pulled out of the desert, slowly rising, and under the manipulation of universal pull, you are sucked into Pain's eyes. So it's you. You saw the indifferent eyes of Pain and Conan, and in the next second, you fell rapidly from a height of tens of meters, and your chest stabbed into Hidan's March sickle. Your heart, lungs, trachea, completely damaged. Your consciousness begins to blur. Your head was chopped off by Kakuzu, you are dead. I rely on. Seeing the simulation here, Tuo Yu's whole heart was shocked. Even a foul language. Just. Dead. I was beaten to death by the Shao organization. You are truly invincible. Tuo Yu's heart was beating wildly, and his breathing became short. To be honest, such a strong life has far exceeded his expectations. Pushing horizontally all the way, he has cultivated a powerful strength, which makes the ninja world terrified. Even in the end, the Shao organization will dispatch 11 people to jointly encircle and suppress him. And he killed 2 of them. It's not too bad to kill 4 members of a small organization alone, and to die after such a tragic battle, right? Tuo Yu thought silently, this wave of simulation, he should be all beautiful. The strength is also there, and the name is also played. The rating should not be low. However, what he didn't expect was, the much-awaited systematic review did not arrive on time. Because the system continues to simulate. 3 years later, you opened your eyes.